And look at that. You know it's a real radio show because it has an open, folks. Welcome. It is Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you this morning. They say, although we'll have to wait for you guys to confirm this after today, they say that the biggest jump is from day one to day two. And we sincerely hope that is the case. We were a little bit frantic yesterday. There was a lot of emotions. There was a lot of different stuff going on. And so we are planning on day two being the best day out of the two so far. And then day three, gets even better. And then we go on from there. And then we're not even talking about how many days that we've done this show yet. But it's early. Mike Schaefer, good morning, my friend.
Should we put on the calendar like a day in the future where we revisit how we've done so far? Should we have a performance review where we let callers and listeners let us know how we're doing?
I like that idea.
That way we're on the schedule. We know that it's coming up.
Yeah.
Like we might know that it's coming up. We might really have to lock in.
We just have to tick it up a notch. Yeah. Before we get that. Well, judging off of the response yesterday, maybe we shouldn't for a little while, but
that's why it's in the future.
In the future. Right. For sure. So yeah, we could do something like that. I mean, Schaefer, once again, just out of nowhere, comes up with an idea that is good and that we will, use it in some shape or form. A lot of times how this works is Schaefer will come up with this little seedling of an idea, and then we'll just sort of shape it and mold it like a ball of clay. And then some version of that idea does actually get used on the show.
And it results in you and I rolling around Lincoln in a dump truck.
Which is why, did you hear that? I put that together last night, that open that you just heard. Did you hear what that clip where we were both talking at the end there? All right. So I was just trying to find some banter. I mean, I could have used anything from the show yesterday, but I didn't want to. I used your clip from JJ McCarthy because I thought it was funny yesterday. So I went on the internet and I just, started Googling away, Happer and Schaefer, and upon that, I found a couple of the videos that had decent quality audio.
You don't want to buy a lemon.
That had decent quality audio where we drove around West Lincoln in
what a time to be alive
in a car of a local dealership's choosing. And
wasn't a dealership
or a used car dealer,
a used car lot.
A used car lot. There we go. And
I don't want to spruce it up too much.
It was nice. It was great. And they were fantastic.
They were fantastic.
And so I saw that and I just was skipping through a couple of the videos, and one of them we were driving around this I think it was like a pink, it was like a fuchsia, tiny little car, and because it would have been funny to do that, and it certainly was. But you were you saw a plane up in the sky, and you were chiding me about how I use flight radar to track planes.
Flight radar,
whatever it is. And the guy AJ, who had to be with us for legal purposes, in the back seat, we asked him, we were like, "Do you ever track planes?" And he was like, "I hate to say this, but yes, I do." And that was our reaction. That was our reaction to it. It's yes, you guys are gonna geek out over flight radar, which is fantastic. It was great.
Incredible. All right. Well, we only needed a month and a half to get to the point where we were driving around cars in Lincoln.
Exactly.
So who knows what's going to be happening in a month and a half here?
The first weekend, formerly known as Super Wild Card Weekend of the NFL playoffs, finished up last night with a real stinker of a game. But it's an opportunity for Mike Schaefer to wax poetic about Aaron Rodgers because his career likely ended last night, and it ended with a awful game, ending with a pick six where he tried to make a tackle on the last play and was squarely run over. And then he finished it off in the post-game press conference by defending Mike Tomlin and yelling at the media for all of their takes. So nice job by Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure Mike. Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
That is typical of Aaron Rodgers.
It was perfect.
He likes to point the fingers at somebody else. That's why I'm glad the Packers got rid of him a few years ago.
A great player, an all-timer whose career ended in a different location in a very sad state of affairs, running a horrible offense and throwing an interception. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Oh yeah, and by the way, that great quarterback was the longtime quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Kind of the way that Favre ended.
Yeah, I mean, Favre had the follow-up year where his ended by being planted into what was then TCF Stadium because
that's right.
The Vikings weren't playing at home because their
new
roof
stadium
had collapsed.
That's right.
They didn't have their new stadium yet.
It was being built.
Collapsed.
Yeah.
No. The roof of the Metrodome took so much snow.
Oh yeah,
that it collapsed.
Oh yeah,
and then they couldn't play like 2 weeks in a row. So they played outdoors in Minnesota, and the heating coils didn't work well enough underneath the stadium.
Shout out to the
so
heating coils.
Basically his head bounced off of the turf, and it was just like watching someone just get tackled on cement. So that was the legendary 2010 season.
I have a piece of that rough. I have a piece of the Metrodome rough.
Yeah, do you? From when it collapsed, or just when they blew it up?
From when it collapsed, because we did a stadium tour at the Metrodome. I was geared up in my Packers stuff, of course.
Classic.
Young Joey was getting harassed by Viking fans, but at the very end, they handed out little square pieces of the Metrodome. I have it somewhere at home. I could bring it to you.
Oh, no, that would be great.
Do you want a piece of the Metrodome roof?
Yeah, I'll put it over in my new desk area that I have over here.
That's right. Schaefer has to build a desk out here in the bullpen.
This is the first time I've had a desk with a job since 2011.
It's amazing. I love having a desk. I love putting stuff on my desk.
I had a desk, and she looked at me, and she's like, "Why?" And I was like, "So I can put stuff there."
It's great. Everybody should use their desk. I put cool stuff on my desk. I put funny bobbleheads and things like that. Stuff that I obviously need to do the show. We're going to share a cubicle wall. John and Josh are right next to us. And
technically, I'm not going to be there. They put me over in one of the small desks to the side.
They denied your.
Yeah.
Wow.
I already have my first request tonight.
That's got Prudon written all over it.
Oh, yeah. He looked at me, smiled, and gave me the small desk.
He's using that space. He's actually not using that space, but he's using that space, quote unquote, as a computer graveyard. Like he's just throwing stuff there. Monitors. And he denied.
It was denied.
He didn't. That's unbelievable. Classic Prudon. All right.
Well, what can you do?
What can you do?
I've only been there for one day. Not even really a full day. I'd been there for about 4.5 hours.
That's true. Yeah. Well,
if you subtract the minute that I was late, only 4 hours and 29.
So how'd yesterday? This is an adjustment for everybody. I want to go around the room here real quick. This is our new lives.
Joey's done this though. Like this isn't.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. I filled in for the morning show before. I've worked in the morning Mondays and Fridays for the morning traffic, and I used to have another job, which I served old people some breakfast.
Yes.
So my Mondays and Fridays, I'm always up early. It's just getting up earlier now. That's the only thing different.
And you're locked in this room for 4 hours.
Well, and I'm locked in this building a little bit longer than usual.
Yeah, but you're going home.
But I'm here. I'm here all the time.
What time is Happer demanding that you're here in the morning?
I'm not. I have no demands.
No, he has no demand.
Except for the show starts at 6.
I try to get up at 4:30. I spend a half an hour getting ready, and then I'm out of the door, and I'm here doing my little preparations, getting whatever I need to get done. Then I'm here.
So 4:30. So you're probably.
It's going to be interesting tonight because Creighton basketball plays at 8:00, and I have responsibilities working the game behind the scenes, doing pregame with Austin Jacobson,
being a part of the Three Amigos,
putting up with John Bishop, and then having to carry Matt McMaster through Blue Jay overtime.
Always watching the end of Nebraska and Oregon on television.
Yes, we will definitely.
They'll be done by the time Matt gets on air. Both,
that's true.
Yeah, because they both start at 8 tonight.
Yep. I'll be driving back from Lincoln, so it all works.
We will all be burning the midnight oil tonight, and then we'll be here at any time before 6 tomorrow morning. Yeah, it's this is going to be an adjustment, I think, for everybody, right? We'll I mean, not only for us, but for you all, I think as well. But I skipped lunch yesterday. I was so excited to do this show because I was able to get lunch. And I was planning out, what am I going to do? How am I going to spend this first lunch? It's a very special time in my life. And obviously the very nice and gracious Michael Severe, who always just appears with food.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He brought us McDonald's yesterday morning. And then Josh appeared with Uncut Bagels yesterday.
Yep.
It's the sequel to Uncut Gems, Uncut Bagels.
Which you hated that movie.
I didn't enjoy it as much as some people did. Correct.
A lot of people enjoyed the movie. You hated the movie.
Yeah, it was hate is
at least
close.
Your reaction. I don't know. Maybe it's been muted a little bit.
I haven't seen it since.
But your initial reaction was, "This is terrible. Everyone that likes this is lying." I hated it. That was essentially where you were at.
Yeah, I could hear myself saying, "Everyone who likes this is lying."
Yeah.
That's a Connor Happer take.
No, that was generally where you were at with it. I mean, I didn't like that, and this is super dorky, but at the time of which that was made, same game parlays weren't really a thing. So the gambling aspect of it was completely nonsensical.
Right.
Like
right.
no bookie is
they're
going to
bet on the tip off
with all of those things lined up on one team. Like, so you're just, that just doesn't happen.
Right.
Even now, if you do a same game parlay, they lock you into what you can actually do.
Yeah, right. Exactly. There's only certain things that you could actually wager on in that in that moment. So I didn't get lunch yesterday. I had an uncut bagel and I had McDonald's in the morning, and then I think I had like a bowl of soup at 3, and that was it for me yesterday. So we are getting adjusted on the whole
kind of soup,
the whole food/sleep situation.
What kind of soup was it?
It's like it was a chicken and wild rice
deal,
like they come in the 2-packs from Costco.
All right.
Yeah, I just threw that on the old stove and warmed her up.
I was just really hoping that you were just eating a New England clam chowder or something.
I just kind of like that as a white soup.
Yeah. Okay.
I like clam chowder. I'm down for a chowder anytime.
Are you eating a chowder out of a can? Is it more of a you're going somewhere and they have a chowder than you're going to have a chowder?
I would rather have it that way, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, you would want to go to the East Coast and have that.
Yeah. I'm one of the people that has a tough time eating seafood in Nebraska if it originates on the coast. We flew it in. It's like, did you?
Yeah. But thank you for lying to me. I actually appreciate it. Yeah.
So
So you're good. Everything worked out yesterday. Deep breath. We're in it.
Yeah, no, we're in it.
Day 2, we're in it.
We're in it.
Okay. Good to hear.
We're in it. That's why we need the performance review. We can look up, a couple months from now. We'll see where we're at. We'll learn what we need to get better at. We'll learn why the listeners think that we should keep doing this, because that's the angle to take. Why we should keep doing this.
Yes. Tell us why we're good, or tell us why we should keep doing this. All right. Welcome to the show. We already got a text this morning from Jesse, who writes in, what is the magic number of wins for Nebraska to get into the tournament? I don't know, like 3.
If they win,
it's getting very close.
They'll be at 17 wins.
Yeah.
So then, the worst that they could be would be 17 and 15, and I'm pretty sure that would get them in Dayton.
17 and 15.
They would have lost 15 straight games. That would be tough.
That would be hard to probably,
but those metrics would still be pretty good.
That'd be difficult to reconcile for the committee.
So you're thinking 18 and
there was Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma last year or 2 years ago where
they put in Texas last year? Their garbage team. They got steamrolled by Xavier or whatever it was.
Let me get Oklahoma's deal from last year, because
Oklahoma was a 9 seed, by the way, last year.
Yeah, so they started off 13-0 last year, and then they ended up losing. They ended up in the end of the regular season 19-12. So it wasn't like losing all the games.
So they went 6 and 12
in a row, but yes, it was 6 and 12, and they won their last 2 regular season games, which probably they needed to. But it would be a situation like that, and I want to say they played UConn last year in the NCAA tournament, so I don't know what seed of games that were. Ken Palm doesn't tell me, but yeah, it'd be a situation like that. But that ain't happening. That ain't happening, folks. We'll talk about Nebraska basketball today.
At this point, I am mostly curious if this Nebraska team can set the single season record for regular season wins, which would be 20. what, 24?
I'm not sure.
25,
Yeah.
25 regular season wins would be the most of all time. 27 would be the most wins the program has ever had when you account for postseason play, because the team that lost to Xavier, the 90-91 team, they won 24 in the regular season, 2 in the Big 8 conference tournament, and then lost to Xavier.
Yeah, as a 3 seed, right?
As a 3 seed,
yeah. Hopefully, I mean, seriously, hopefully Nebraska does not. So we do not need that situation this year. Currently, Ken Pom projects them at 26-5, which would get them into 2 or 3 seed territory. I think maybe even 1 seed territory, which is just incredible. All right, so today coming up on the show, we are going to introduce you to another set of guests today. Mitch Sherman will join us at about 8:30. Jacob Padilla will join us at 9:15. Jacob is not an early morning guy, so I gave him
9:15 is not early.
Oh, it is for Jacob. He as much as we're burning the midnight oil tonight and last night, he is up every night watching the Suns or just whatever basketball he could find, or I don't know what he's doing, but he's up
at 1. He can get up
he doesn't have to worry about the
and have gotten 7 hours of quality sleep.
He does not have to worry about the Packers anymore. That's true, but he has his habits, he has his ways, but he has been ever so kind to agree.
That's great.
To wake up and hang out with us and provide excellent Creighton basketball analysis at 9:15 today. And then, we could ask him about high school stuff or the Suns or, make fun of them or something like that, or talk about, baseball, ask him his opinions on baseball.
I know nothing of what's happening with the high school basketball scene, so I will have one question in there.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. So it's a genuine curiosity.
Yeah. I genuinely have no idea what is occurring.
So the question is, what's going on with high school basketball?
Give us a 2-minute breakdown of what's happening with high school basketball.
Oh, he could supply that. That's for sure.
I know that's part of the allure.
So Mitch and Jacob, that is our lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. We want to hear from you all today. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number, tweet at Happer and Schaefer, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Joe Warcola on the Twitter feed, wherever you want to get in touch with us there. You can email. Now this will be fun because we're about to find out something, right? Connor at 1620thezone.com and
Mike.
Are we up and running?
Mike at 1620thezone.com.
Mike at 1620thezone.com. And we're good. We have access to
I have an email. I need to you
got to log
in, but
okay. Well, if you email
is set up, so it'll receive email.
If you email Mike at 1620thezone.com, Schaefer will probably see it later or during a break at some point today. And Jay Colbert at nrgmedia.com. That is where you can get in touch with the show. Also, you could leave a comment on our YouTube stream. Good morning, YouTubers. How's everybody doing out there? Thanks for joining us this morning. We had a nice good morning comment from Kevin right away at 5:43 this morning, and we were ready to rock and roll after that. So that is the setup for today's show. We have some topics for you. Some people returning to Nebraska on quote-unquote new deals. I want to find out if Mike Schaefer is a conspiracy theorist, so I have something to bounce off of him.
I did click on that link. I'll tell you that much.
You did? Okay, good. Dylan Raiola is headed to Oregon.
Quack.
He's headed to Oregon, and he's quacking. This is a big Oregon day. Oregon basketball is here. We'll have some Dana Altman talk, and Dylan Raiola is going to Oregon. And for some reason, people are still saying that he might redshirt as Dante Moore returns to school. Dante Moore is not returning to school. He's going to be like the number 2 pick in the draft.
Yeah, I don't know why he would come back.
People keep saying that, and I don't know why. It's very confusing.
He couldn't go higher next year.
No,
literally. Arch Manning will come out, and he's
also 2 is pretty
guaranteed to go number 1. Whether he's good enough to be number 1 or not, we can have that debate for an entire season.
Oh, good one.
So he can't go higher than 2, and famously, the Raiders are picking at 1, so he kind of gets to avoid the Raiders.
It's a great situation for him.
So I'm not sure who would be telling him to go back to school.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for him to go back.
Unless Phil Knight's like, hey, I'll give you a bag but I don't think that Oregon would be the top team in the country.
It would
year
have
either
to
way.
be a giant bag, and I still don't think. Anyway, we can talk about that a little bit later when we talk about Dylan Raiola. Both local basketball teams in action tonight at 8:00. So basketball fans, we're staying up late tonight. Nebraska ball, 10.5-point favorite against Dana Altman's Oregon Ducks. Interesting. We could talk about that later. Creighton at home tonight as a 9.5-point favorite against Ed Cooley. #respect Ed Cooley and the Georgetown Hoyas tonight in Omaha. Buzz out there about whatever else is going on, media literacy, things like that. Got an email from listener Joe last night about Fred Hoiberg that I want to bounce off of Schaefer as well. So that is the setup for the program today. Glad you're with us on day 2. We made it to day 2 of Happer and Schaefer. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Hey, Nebraska still doesn't have a running back. Well, I mean,
That's not true.
That's not true. They have Mekhi Nelson and well, maybe they just have Mekhi Nelson. I don't know what they're going to do with Mosey. Is he going to stay back there?
Well, I mean, they keep bringing in receivers and not running backs, so it seems like he would be staying at running back. They also have Quentin Ives, who they love. They love Quentin Ives.
I have heard
they love Quentin Ives so much that he had absolutely no carries against Power 4 competition,
except for the bowl
game when the guy who had 85% of the work did not play.
So they loved him. We'll see if they love him this coming year. It's very
I feel bad for Quentin Ives in some ways because I make a lot of it, and it's largely out of annoyance of being told repeatedly something that I know is not true.
Right.
Like if you loved him that much, you would utilize him
and he was hurt at the start of the year. Yeah.
And it's nothing against him, but going all the way back to his recruitment, Nebraska was the only FBS team that gave him a scholarship. They were the only team that viewed him as a running back. And they continue to claim that this is what it is.
Yeah, and I wish I could trust them in
they've eroded that trust.
Yeah, just from the perspective of if they're telling me that this guy is going to be good despite all that I see and all that I would normally look at, like if they're telling me he's good, I want just a little bit of something to go off of, like a little proof of performance there. A little bit of like, oh, that's happened before, so it could happen again with it. And I don't think that I've seen a whole. I mean, maybe I'm missing something.
Like everybody did against Akron and Houston Christian,
right?
Which it's good. I'd rather he does well in those situations. It's just that if you weren't willing to play him the rest of the year,
right,
I'm not willing to believe you when you say that you love him.
Needless to say, I am not comfortable going into a situation where it's just those guys in the running back room next year. I have heard some people who say that might end up happening. And I'm not very.
They haven't brought in a running back for a visit.
I know. I mean, that's what I was going to ask you about.
Has said that they haven't contacted, like, other than the Minnesota running back, Fame.
Fame, Itchy boy.
Yeah. Other than that, they really weren't linked with any running backs in the portal. So, and then there's kind of
everybody
Shamar
just
Brown.
Everybody just assumes that they're going to end up with Marty Brown.
Maybe it does, and then that picture looks different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, if you just expect that this is going to happen, how has that worked for Nebraska football and history of expecting?
By the way, if he's going to re-enter the portal, does he have to do it before the national champion? Like, the deadline's Friday, but do they have an exception since they play on Monday?
The teams that continued to play as the portal was going on have an extension through, it's just like last year after the national championship. That's when Rocco Spindler went into the portal.
Gotcha.
I have to imagine it's the same. I can't imagine.
I got to be honest. But that seems like a dangerous preposition for teams that are looking for those players, because there's going to be a handful that enter from Miami and Indiana, but I would assume everybody's going to want them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's where the
Shamar Brown has scored a touchdown. He scored 2 touchdowns in the playoffs so far, I think. And so like people are going to want that guy. You could have your idea on what you're going to, maybe you go in with a no contact tag or whatever it might be.
Right.
But I don't know. There's going to be a market there.
Didn't Minchie go in with the no contact tag?
He did.
And someone contacted him.
Someone else contacted him.
Wow.
Yes. It's amazing how that works.
There's just no honor amongst portal people.
People just listen to nobody. They want
Can't
what
believe
they want.
the do not contact resulted in someone not following the rules.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
In college football? Which is this I haven't really had a chance to immerse myself in the rundown. Are we talking about the Sam Levitt to LSU and what that means about DeMond Williams in Washington?
Not necessarily, but I'm interested in your take if you have one.
I was curious if we've heard what's happening there.
I think it happened.
I know that Levitt is going to LSU, but then where does that leave us with Williams, who walked away from $4 million at Washington?
He's going back.
He is going back to Washington?
Yeah, he's going back. Yeah,
okay, I missed that.
He announced that he was going back, which I think is wild. but he's going back.
There was some very angry people inside the walls of Washington over there. So.
And he was like, "Sorry, everyone, I'm coming back."
Wonder if someone basically told him that there was no way he was getting out of that.
Well, remember his lawyer like quit on him.
No, I remember all that. When did this happen on Sunday or something?
I want to say Thursday night. Because I remember we had it on our show rundown for Friday that he was going back. We're like,
I missed that entirely.
I guess he's going back.
That's on me.
No, it's fine. But like, it's a fascinating game out there.
The lawyer or the agent quit on like Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, and then he got represented, I think, by somebody else, and then he ended up.
Oh man, I totally missed that.
Yeah,
totally missed it.
It all happened very fast.
And I'll wear it. I missed it, but at the same time, there's so much going on.
Yep,
that I'm okay with.
So I bring this up. We were talking about running backs a little bit there. Our old friend alert here for Dante Dowdell. Dante Dowdell, who originally was at Oregon, then transferred to Nebraska, played here a year, then transferred to Kentucky, played there a year, went into the portal again, and ended up at Georgia now. He is committed to Georgia. So I have a question for you, Schaefer. Is just looking around, and Dante Dowdell is far from the first or only person to do this, but he's going to end up at 4 schools in 4 years. And I wonder if there is going to be a long-term effect on, maybe it's the NFL. Obviously there's a lot going on in college football, but as far as like the development of college players, because they aren't actually getting better / going through difficult things / doing things consistently, like whatever it is, they're just moving on to the best situation. And once again, I'll throw my hands up here. Like, I'm not exactly sure the motives and why Dante Dowdell is entering the transfer portal. But like I said, there's a lot of guys who have the same sort of resume. They're going to go to 4 schools in 4 years, or they're going to go to 5 schools in 5 years, like Nebraska's now Anthony Jones. What is that going to mean for college football players and how they develop over time? There's no way that you could do like a study on this right now because it's sort of early, and this whole 4 schools in 4 years thing is new. And it's admittedly, it's sort of an old man topic too, because I'm just yelling at the clouds like, come on, how don't you guys see this? Like, stay in one place. It's good for you. But I just wonder what that'll look like going forward.
Yeah, with Dante Dowdell, it makes you wonder if there's something related to the fact that he started at Oregon and then didn't the Oregon offensive coordinator end up with the job at Kentucky?
Will Stein,
and
yeah.
So then he may not have better,
sure, like you follow coaches, of course.
Well, and they may have been like, hey, didn't want you at Oregon.
This didn't work.
Don't
for
want
us.
you here. Yeah. So tough luck.
Sure.
You're just going to have to go from Kentucky to
100%.
Georgia.
It's a great thing to remember. Like, coaches absolutely have a part in this. There are sometimes like you're gone.
I think people
like,
sometimes think that it's always players leaving, and sometimes players don't have the option to return.
At the same, like, I still think the same point stands though.
Oh no, it does. It does. I was just wondering if that was a thing with Dante Dowdell. Do we have an example of a player that has transferred like 3 times
who is actually in the NFL?
Well, I'm sure there's some that have been in the NFL, but like still was an elite player. Usually it seems to me if you're transferring a bunch, you're probably not getting the development continuity and the things that help.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, but on the other hand, there's a chance that those guys just, kind of to your point, those guys just aren't NFL players anyway.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to find the best situation for themselves to make the most money in college, which is, fine.
And then the other thing to remember is, if you start at a Power 4 program and then you transfer down to a Group of 5 program and you play well, your opportunities to transfer back up to, so some of it's just circumstance.
Yep.
So, and who knows what the roles that people are looking for or being offered or whatever else. It's just, I don't know. The thing of it that is unfortunate is that one of the cool things about college football, and that you would hear former players talk about, is that you always had somewhere to return to, no matter what.
I know.
No matter what had happened in your life or what, think of all the former Huskers you've heard say some iteration of that.
Yep.
That you could always come back to Lincoln or always come back to Nebraska and you'd have something that, was uniquely yours or that you were somewhere where it would matter. And if you're one of these sort of 3-4 time mercenaries, like maybe you can go back to one of those places, but at some point it's going to become such a nameless, faceless wash of players. Like that's what I think stinks for, the younger fans of college sports is like
we look at it completely
whether they won a lot or not. I still grew up with Nebraska basketball teams where I got to watch a guy like Jake Muehlheisen go through 5 years or 4 years.
That's a great question, Schaefer. Like, what does alumni day look like in 15 years? In like 30 years?
Well, you're getting the McGowans. I know that.
Definitely.
They're going to be there. Whether you're getting, Alonzo Verge, I don't know.
I don't think Alonzo Verge is probably coming
back.
Whether
Matej Kavas is showing up, I don't know.
That would be funny.
So I definitely get the old man sentiment. I also understand where everyone comes from it. What has always sort of bothered me is that I wish there had been sort of the one-time free transfer stipulation, but even had the NCAA enacted that, the courts would have removed it.
I know.
I mean, the hardest part about all of this is that there can't be guidelines because people have gotten the court systems involved and it has wrecked college sports, which then leaves only one entity that can really help you out. And it's the one that nobody wants, and that's Congress.
Yeah.
Nobody wants Congress making these decisions.
No.
You don't want the NCAA making these decisions, but we got here because a subset of coaches who were involved in making the initial decisions, people like Mac Brown, were very, very furious when their players weren't the exception. And so they went to attorney generals, and those attorney generals went to favorable judges, and they got everything demolished. So think about that when you want to blame the NCAA, reverse it back a little bit, and think about the people that actually ruined this were attorney generals and Mac Brown. That's what I want you to think about.
Yeah. Mac Brown, huh?
He was one of them. There was a wide receiver for North Carolina that he just absolutely lost it over that he didn't get to have. And so then North Carolina, West Virginia, Ohio, and one other state were involved in the initial legislation that more or less just created this concept of these judges that just demolished every single regulation that we had.
Yeah. I just wonder what it looks like. Obviously there's the school part, there's the fandom part of it, which we are really in tune with, but I also wonder about it from the player perspective too. And how, like, I just, under any circumstance,
it'd be amazing, if someone can actually get Anthony Jones to talk about it, like, hey, what are you going to take away from the fact that this is your fifth school?
Like, exactly. Like, think about it this way. I understand how it's not always the player's choice that they're moving and that they're going to a different school. That makes sense to me. I get that. So I know it's not always their fault. However, I'm just saying, point blank period, I can't imagine it's a good thing at all for a person's personal development or, like, obviously professional, playing development to be at 4 different schools in 4 years or 5 different schools in 5 years. I can't imagine where that's good for them outside, like maybe life, like where you get to see different things, like that's cool. Like ultimately that's what college is trying to do, right?
You transferred once. Do you talk to anyone from your previous school?
Yeah, I do.
I transferred once. I talked to like 2 people.
Yeah, I do.
Out of the probably 12 people that I would say that I was pretty good friends with in my one semester at South Dakota State.
Yeah, I guess you pick up friends wherever you go,
right?
But
it's more or less like it's a very small amount relative to where you kind of spent the bulk of your time.
Indeed. All right. So that'll be something that
we had a segment on friendship. That's nice.
The transfer portal really is about friendship when you think about it. It's about friendship.
Friends that pay you to be friends.
New friends.
Old
friends that don't become friends anymore. Things of that nature.
Friends that you could return to potentially.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. The guy goes back to the school that he was already at. Like Daniel Kalin. He came back. All right. Quick break. We'll be back around at the 6 o'clock hour. Still plenty to come on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from our friends at Underdog Fantasy, where we are now going into the next round of the playoffs. Underdog is the best place to get in on all the gridiron action. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. It's oh so easy. Just pick if your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get those right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So whether it be Josh Allen or Bo Nix or Drake May, whatever it might be, higher or lower on certain stat categories. Although I will say defense seems to rule the way, at least so far, even though we've had some games in which there's been some points on the board. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today. Use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 of bonus entries when you play your first $5. Promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present. Nebraska terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing at terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Well, how about this for a throwback from YouTube? Vern says, as long as Beefy Stevenson is at Alumni Day, nothing else matters. Do you remember Beefy Stevenson?
Yes, I remember your phase of giving nicknames.
I was pretty good at it to Nebraska ball players.
Backdoor Thor.
Yeah.
We had Beefy Stevenson.
Yeah.
There
was a couple more.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what they were.
I don't think Beefy Stevenson is even like eligible to be at Alumni Day. You know? Like he left. I don't think he graduated.
We didn't graduate. Do you have to graduate to be at Alumni Day?
Actually, probably not. But
well, we know you don't because the McGowans are.
Yeah, he played an insignificant amount of time at Nebraska. You know,
let's look this up. Let's finally recall the Shamil Stevenson.
I think he was here for 2 years, and
two seems like one more than I would have guessed.
Maybe it was just one. Maybe he had a sit out situation. I think he had to sit out a year. And then he like went pro. I want to say
he played 2 years at Pitt, 1 year at Nebraska, 26 games played, no games started. Would you like to guess any of his statistical accomplishments?
Yeah, points per game, 2.5.
No,
higher,
double it.
Whoa, 5,
5.5 points per game.
All right,
from Beefy. What do you think he shot from 3-point land?
18%.
He did shoot 18%. Very nice.
Look at that. See, I remember.
Any other notable statistical accomplishments in here? No.
What was his minutes?
He was a 43% field goal percentage.
Okay. All right. Nope. But thank you for the reference. We appreciate that. Schaefer, got a question for you. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? So, we're going to ask if you're a conspiracy theorist, or I don't know if it's a conspiracy as much as like stuff that you see on the internet and like
which is famously things that you should believe all the time.
I don't know if they're real, but I just want to bounce this off of you. Okay. So the NFL's had a situation or an increasingly public or talked about situation with ligament injuries and things of that nature. And most recently, we had George Kittle go down with Achilles tear in the Niners-Eagles game on Sunday. And then as that was going on, there was this tweet that was already going on around from Peter Cowan is his name. All right. So I'll read this tweet to you. Low-frequency electromagnetic fields can degrade collagen, weaken tendons, and cause soft tissue damage at levels regulators call, quote, safe. We have a real-world case study proving this. An NFL team whose practice facility sits next to a massive electrical substation. That's right. The San Francisco 49ers are statistically the most injured team in the NFL over the last decade. Since they have moved to Levi's Stadium in 2014, they have had 7 or 8 full Achilles / patellar ruptures, 40 major hamstring / calf tears, high ankle syndesmosis injuries every single year. No other franchise comes close. But apparently, part of the reason why, according to this guy, is that their stadium is located right next to an electrical substation. And quote, players have joked around about there being an electrical substation right next to the practice field and how that has led to the Niners' injury problems. There's a little show your work situation in here, a little bit. I won't bore you with the details, but basically I wanted to know if you were the kind of guy who saw this kind of thing and thought, oh yes, that's why the Niners are getting hurt, is because of the electrical substation next to Levi's Stadium. Your thoughts, Schaefer?
Well, to start with, I want to be very clear. Peter Cowan would know a lot more than I would.
Maybe. I'm not sure who Peter Cowan is.
I'm assuming because he's putting the effort into typing things that he knows more than I do in some regards.
Okay.
I am not willing to just accept his overall theory. I would need a lot more, I think.
Okay.
Or
you don't have to accept the theory.
I would need more people to come forward with credible backgrounds that also agree.
To be clear, I'm not asking you to
Yeah,
accept
no.
the theory. I
If
am.
the general question is, are you a conspiracy theorist? The answer is no. Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Like that's my general response to these things.
I agree.
So
I agree. But I like this happens where a story like this will just sort of start to bubble up on the internet. And then all of a sudden it's commonplace, in conversations, or, you're watching the 49ers on TV and somebody goes down with an injury. And then you stand up in your chair and you point at the TV and you say, electromagnetic facility right next to the stadium. It happened again. I just wonder if this is going to be one of those situations, or if you'll forget about it entirely.
When I watched that movie, I never thought that Leo pointing at the TV would become what it is in society
right
these years later. But yeah, I mean, I totally understand it's hard to chalk it up to bad luck for the 49ers. Like we're now in the looking for explanations as to how they're the most injured team every single year.
People always do this with injuries. They're always like, there has to be something that's wrong. It's the grass or it's the whatever,
Like, I mean, sometimes the simplest explanation to me is best. Like, it seems that they're either training or their methodology. It's the same coach, like the literal same coach. Like Levi Stadium had been there when Harbaugh was there, right?
Yeah,
the electrical magnetic field would have been there too at that time. Like, can we go look at what the injury?
Maybe it hadn't taken hold yet over the knees and the ankles and the things like that.
So but then the Chargers lost both of their tackles. How close is their practice facility to?
Right.
We can do this all day, but a lot of it just comes down to there has to be something in what Kyle Shanahan does that either puts more stress on what's happening with the 49ers or whatever else.
Maybe it's just NFL players. Like it's
that's
hard,
the other thing. I mean, start with that.
Yeah,
they're playing a game that's incredibly violent, incredibly brutal to the bodies of the people that are playing it. Those that get out of the sport get out by playing through pain. Like meet any former NFL player
100%.
that played, and everyone is hurt all the time.
We have to do this.
Pain no one talks about it. But pain tolerance is one of the biggest things about being an athlete.
Yep.
If you can't play through pain, you will not matter at the highest level.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, that's
and so guys get hurt at a high rate.
You will not find anyone that is 100% healthy. It doesn't exist in that level of athletics.
Mike writes in on YouTube. He says Schaefer does not cautiously subscribe to this theory. No, it doesn't seem like it, which is correct, by the way. Also, Debo writes in, I live directly across the street from a large substation. Both Achilles still intact. Find a new slant, Hamper. I will. I just wanted to.
So do you believe it?
I do not.
Okay.
No,
right.
no. I think this is weird internet stuff, but I just wanted to bounce it off you guys. I also, I think fan bases love to make excuses.
I think it's looking for an explanation.
Yeah, looking for explanation, looking for excuses. Like they have to move this stadium outside of the electromagnetic substation and stuff. Like that's going to happen if this goes more viral than it already is. Fremont Fred writes in on Twitter, says, I can't believe you two aren't educated on electromagnetic forces and football injuries. Oh, we're very educated now from this guy, Peter, for at Living Energy on Twitter. Let's take a break.
I kind of like that we get his name and then it's Sunlight is Life.
I know. I don't really understand what he is doing, which is all the more
Maybe
reason
he's
that
very
this is probably
solar,
not
so
credible.
He's part of solar and they're he wants to remove electrical energy. He wants it all to be sun power.
Oh, so he has a slant.
He's on the bill for Big Sun.
Fascinating. I hadn't thought about that angle yet. That's good. Let's take a break. 7:00 hour. We got basketball to talk about tonight. Dylan Raiola ending up at Oregon. Questions from you all. Nebraska's roster. Plenty more coming up on 1620 The Zone. The divisional round of the NFL playoffs is set. Schaefer and I were just talking about game times and why they did what they did as we are set for the next round coming off of last night. Aaron Rodgers' career might be over, but everybody knew Pittsburgh probably wasn't going to win that game. I am proud to say that I went 6 for 6 on picking NFL wildcard weekend winners. Mike Schaefer. Why are you shaking your head?
Because you have no business winning that Bears one.
Well, that's true.
That's why I'm shaking my head.
I'm playing the results here. Like the results are the results. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I would have went 5-1 with the one thing being I had the Packers over the Bears. I think that was the one that I got wrong. But yeah, sorry, Joey. I think about that game.
There was a lot of
have the Packers has the Packers community recovered yet? Are they back or what?
They're indifferent on the whole Matt LaFleur thing. I'm hearing speculation that Richard Bisaccia is not going to return. I'll be fine with that.
Can we have an update on his status every day until we get confirmation as to whether he's?
We
there you go.
Yeah, I would like.
Are Rich Bisaccia, is he fired or not fired yet?
Yep.
The answer: not fired.
Not fired yet, but it can happen.
Bills Broncos will be Saturday afternoon. Niners Seahawks Saturday night. Texans Patriots on Sunday. The first game. Remember, on Sunday they do 2 and 5:30. So Texans Patriots is the first one, and then Rams Bears on Sunday Night Football, which will start at 5:30. So Carrie Underwood will be singing to you at like 5:18, which will be odd.
It's 5:30. It's like if you're in the Mountain Time Zone.
It's great.
Or Pacific time.
I love it. I always love this
I'll
weekend
take
because it gets moved up, and I think it does for the championship weekend as well.
Yeah.
Right. So I am good, especially as a person who now hosts a morning show that starts at 6 o'clock. That I am especially okay with it. But
to go to bed early.
The stars, dare I say, the stars of the show, the weekend in the NFL, sort of has the bookends. I think there is so much intrigue in this Bills Broncos deal, and then obviously the Rams Bears, given what the Bears have done and how just ridiculous they seem to make their games this year. With all due respect to Niners and Seahawks,
if we hadn't just seen it,
I know, yeah,
that's part of it.
It's a divisional game,
right?
And they're playing the West Coast. Sorry, it's like East Coast bias, even though we're here in Omaha. But we don't get to watch the West Coast teams as frequently.
You have a bias against the West Coast?
No, I don't. But they just seem less accessible to me. They just seem less. All their games are in the mid. I
watched a lot
window.
of Seahawks this year.
I watched some Seahawks this year, but like most of the West Coast teams' games are in the mid-afternoon window, and by the time the mid-afternoon window rolls around, I'm usually not watching Red Zone as intently anymore. And so they're just less in my life than some of the others.
By November, you've got 14 basketball programs that you do stuff with.
Exactly.
So your Sundays are barely your own Sundays anymore.
Exactly.
You can't be expected to know what's going on with Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Oh, I know what's going on with him. He's like the best receiver in the NFL.
He is the best receiver.
But his quarterback is Sam Darnold. And
who's very good.
Who's very good, except for we'll see what happens on Saturday night. Narratives.
I have so much annoyance with this, though, because we've watched quarterbacks be bad all weekend, and yet we're going to listen to the first take style. Can Sam Darnold get it done? Meanwhile, Brock Purdy can play horrible games, and it doesn't matter because people have just decided they like Brock Purdy.
I get it. It's very first takey. I understand it. But
and Michael Severe is going to hit me up with a bunch of EPA stats for.
I haven't seen it.
Or not EPA, points added or whatever it is.
I haven't seen him be good in a situation that matters.
He's won 18 or not 18. He's like 28 NFL wins over the last 2 years with 2 different teams. That should matter.
Do you expect them to beat the 49ers?
I do expect them to beat the 49ers.
Yeah, well,
that game against the Rams.
What if he plays like garbage and they lose?
Playing the Rams.
Yeah,
if he plays like garbage, then it's just going to be harder for me to explain how this works.
But you will stay on it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to point out that quarterbacks that played like garbage still won games over the weekend. C.J. Stroud played like garbage. Caleb Williams played like garbage. He made a really couple key throws. Also was a big reason why they were down 21-3 to start with.
And then also made a lot of awesome
Brock
throws.
Purdy, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, played like garbage.
Also made some awesome throws.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to do some of the good. Like if Sam Darnold is only just getting sacked 25 times, like he was against the Rams last year.
You don't think it's at all noticeable that, what happened, the narrative that already existed about him last year that happened in the Vikings' first game of the playoffs, and that has happened a time or two this year in big games already.
I think
and
it's
that
selective.
might happen again this weekend. It probably is selective.
That's what annoyed me about it last year is like going into that Lions game, all that anyone wanted to talk about is, well, what are the Vikings going to do with Sam Darnold? Because previous to that, and Joey can attest to this, he eviscerated a Packers defense so thoroughly in 3 quarters that it made people wonder if Jeff Hafley was any good at his job. Now he's an NFL coaching candidate.
Everybody loves Jeff Hafley now,
And I actually think Jeff Hafley's pretty good. But Sam Darnold, like, he put a clinic on in that game. And then all you would hear about is, when it was a really important game against the Lions, he didn't play that well. Meanwhile, in the first game of the year against the Lions, played really well, and they lost on a last-second field goal. So it's just like the other thing that goes into it, when you have a horrible offensive line and you get sacked all the time, like we have a really tough time when we watch football determining whether it's the quarterback's fault, the offensive line's fault, or the third one that sometimes doesn't come up enough. And for the Vikings last year is an issue. Kevin O'Connell, like he had to adjust in the game and he didn't.
This is admittedly anecdotally.
He's the seeing ghost guy. Like that's going to follow him until it doesn't.
That's it.
But when you have 28 wins against 34 total games.
Hey, Schaefer, I'm not saying that I don't want him as my quarterback. I love winning games, I want him to, but I'm just saying when you get into this situation, it does become about which quarterback can propel you to the next thing. Like there's been a lot of quarterbacks over the history of time who have been able to win a lot and put up great stats and be really efficient and don't throw interceptions and all those things, but they don't win in the playoffs because they can't elevate. And I think that's probably what we're looking at with Sam Darnold. I don't think he's a team elevator.
That is all fair. And then I look across what's left of the 8 teams left in this playoff, and I think to myself, Sam Darnold is more representative of everyone that isn't Josh Allen. Like there's nobody to go through go through the other 7. I mean, Stafford was terrible against Carolina until that last drive. Stafford's career, absolutely amazing. Stafford against Carolina was bad. Stafford against the Falcons in a game that they wanted to win was bad. Like it's not like he hasn't. He played worse as the season. Drake May's been very good.
Drake May's been very good. He's
the question
TBD.
Is, right.
We don't know yet.
Right. That Texans game will tell us a lot. CJ Stroud has been bad. Bo Nix has been. Now you have to make plays in winning situations.
Yeah.
Bo Nix has done an amazing job of like doing just enough to propel the Broncos at times when he hasn't played well.
That one's a fascinating one.
If we were sitting here ranking the quarterbacks, I think it'd be really hard after Josh Allen. Like, who's 2? I mean, Stafford's 2.
Stafford's definitely 2. It's probably Caleb Williams.
But you say that with absolutely no confidence.
Correct.
Because he could go out and have a horrible performance.
We could get playoff Bo Nix. We could get some just Bo Nix making plays with a great defense.
I think a lot of people would probably put Brock Purdy 3.
Purdy over Caleb. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm very famously the person who refers to Brock Purdy as the Cane's chicken because it's not, everything else around him is what makes it.
Is that what people say about Raising Cane's?
I tend to think the chicken is not the star of Raising Cane's. It's the totality of what you get. So all the sides make it enhanced.
Except for the bread.
Well, except for the slaw, which you get really
The slaw is awesome. I love the slaw. I want to get double slaw.
I was encouraging people, random people, and on air the other day to just tweet at you about when they go to Cane's that they don't get the slaw and they get double.
I get personally offended by that.
I know. I love it.
You get double toast.
Yeah, sometimes depends on the day.
It's just
I'll
bread.
do double fries.
It's just bread. Why not have some
delicious,
creatively created Cane's coleslaw?
One other Cane's take. Cane's in the actual restaurant is fantastic.
Yeah, because it's the styrofoam.
And then-
the styrofoam screws the whole thing up.
if you go home and you air fry it, you're fine. But then that extra step of having to air fry food that you just bought is sort of annoying.
100%.
But I have it like maybe once or twice a year, and inside the actual restaurant is my preference.
Last time I went to Canes, I was I sat there. It was like I did a high school football game on a Friday night, like in October, and I went to Canes because I guess I just wanted to be like a high school kid that night. There was a
Do high
100
school kids go to Canes?
Yes, there was 100 high school kids in there from 7 different area high
No
schools.
kidding.
It was at 132nd and Maple.
That's the only Canes I know. And there's the one on Dodge, I guess, right?
Yeah, right up here on
Yeah,
this almost
72nd
70.
Dodge.
Yeah, like Family Fun Center. So there was just like it was just like a melting pot of all of the high school
I didn't know
kids.
that Canes was the hangout of high school.
I didn't either.
It is.
I didn't either, but Joey
is.
is confirming.
I
this.
can
Wow.
attest to this. When I was a senior at high school, we had open campus, and that happened around 10 o'clock in the morning. So what we would do is we just go to the nearby Canes, and that was the one over by Oakview. We're always the first people in there.
That's good. You need to be because you don't want to be sitting in line behind the high school kids.
I will say
had
I'm not
no
a-
idea.
I will say I am not a fan of their drive-through system because it depends on how busy it is. It could be chaotic in the parking lot,
I've received a text.
especially the one on 72nd and Dodge.
I've received a text from a listener. Coleslaw is your most Midwestern take ever, and it's just bread is your worst take ever. It's just bread.
I would love to
It's just-
co-sign this
It's just bread.
this text you received.
Let's see.
Coleslaw sucks.
G Fred writes in, I fold my chicken in the toast to make a hot dog. That's not a bad idea. That's a good use of the bread, I think.
Yeah. I know someone who
I go no substitutions, by the way.
Does
Like
they
like
I
to
just
do
don't. I'm just anti-double bread. Like I'm fine with the bread.
Does anyone get the sandwich at Canes?
So I have a friend that does that because he
Okay.
gets 2 pieces of bread out of it, but it's
Yeah.
just a bun, so it's not the same bread, right?
I don't.
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
an
I haven't
actual
had it. I haven't
bun.
had it.
So
Pretty sure it's an actual bun. Anyway, John writes in. He says coleslaw is by far greater than toast. If you disagree, you are wrong. John, thank you. What a great text. Excellent text by you.
terrible text.
Also, text from the 402 coming from one of the high schoolers. We tried giving them a local high school helmet, and they never displayed it. So it's that big of a high school place where the high schools
Man,
getting
I
helmets.
did
in
not
them.
know this.
Oh, I'm
about
telling you, it
Canes.
was Elkhorn and Elkhorn North and
I mean,
Burke.
I know,
and
like
it
in
was-
Lincoln,
yeah.
which is my general reference for everything. I'm going to be like one of those
Sure.
people that live somewhere else, and they always refer to back to where they were.
you'll get there.
Well, in Lincoln,
You'll get there.
it
Mm-hmm.
was a college hangout because it was right next to the campus, and they would go there all the time.
Yeah.
And then when 48th Street was the only one that existed,
I know that was how I first learned about it.
a lot of college kids would go there
Uh-huh.
as well.
You just have to find your way out there somehow.
And that drive-through was always a nightmare.
It's a challenge in the chicken district.
In the chicken district.
I have 2 more NFL questions for you, Schaefer.
Let's do it.
Before we move on to the next thing, we'll talk some football and hoops tonight. True or false? You want Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl because he probably won't have a chance to win another one.
False. He's too good of a quarterback to not have another chance.
Okay.
I mean, the first part of the statement, you want Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl.
I just
True.
assume that. Yes.
But yeah, he's too good of a quarterback. This isn't like this is his only chance kind of thing.
I also think the narratives would just I would hate the narratives for him if he wasn't able to like get out of this game this weekend, you know, and make a conference championship game and whatever it might
shouldn't
be.
I mean, are they favored? The Broncos have to be favored. The Broncos are the better
Oh yeah,
team.
almost certainly.
So that's the other thing that kind of is like, well,
Oh wow, the Bills are 1.5 favorites. I didn't know that. Okay, that's even worse for him if he loses. Poor Josh.
I feel bad for Josh.
Poor Josh. Okay.
He's gonna get destroyed by the takes if they don't win.
Reaction overreaction. The Patriots are frauds still. The Patriots still haven't beat anybody. True or false?
I mean, I'll say true, but I don't know how much it's not true.
I mean, they're going to play the Texans, who have
If
an
they beat
excellent.
the Texans, I'm done at that point. They're legit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, but the mark against the Texans though is they have an excellent defense, but they're a little choppy on offense, right?
I mean, of the teams remaining in the playoffs, I think the Texans have played several of them and have gone either 500 or better.
Oh, they can hang with anybody.
Yeah, so
that's for sure. I just don't I just don't know how they get it done with their offense.
Besides their offense, I think DeMeco Ryans makes some just startling, dumb decisions as a head coach.
Definitely.
Very, very good defensive-oriented organization. Just like needs someone in his ear like, hey, we have to kick it through the end zone so we can protect the 2-minute warning. Or we need to save our timeouts for stuff later in the game. Or we shouldn't go for it here because we're on our own 5-yard line and there's enough time for us to get the ball back with our amazing defense if we punt it.
Mm-hmm. Defensive coaches just work like that sometimes.
Just brain dead.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I like just a really, really good coach, but
so big picture, I just think you can make the case, and we'll get to this call here in a second because I'm interested in the topic. Big picture, I think for this weekend in the NFL, you can make the case that every single one of these teams' windows is like open. There are some that are earlier in the window, that are some that are later in the window, right? But I would not be shocked at almost any Super Bowl matchup.
The end of the Rams window?
I think it's near the end of the Rams window.
Of the Rams.
Yes, near the end of the Rams window. We're obviously near the beginning of the Bears window, the Patriots window. I don't know where we're at in Bills window territory. Probably late.
I mean, with Josh Allen, your window is just like one of those big ones that look out the back of the house.
And then I think we're early in Broncos window territory.
Yeah.
Niners and Seahawks, I just feel like they're always going to be.
Window.
I just feel like they're always going to be good, just because that's what they are.
They just have so many players, and they're next to this substation that is preventing them from having success. I don't know if that window is the same as every other window.
Travis writes in, Broncos fan Travis, he says, unfortunately, Josh Allen has Bo Nix standing in his way. Watch out. Bo Nix. He's coming.
I'm a little more worried about, Pat Surtain and then that whole defensive line.
Also, let me say this. Give me what we have where I genuinely think anybody can win this weekend, and it was the same thing last weekend. We got so many great games with the exception of Pittsburgh, who sucked. Give me that over the narratives and the stars and the dynasties and the who will win their whatever at Super Bowl all day long. This is great. I love what we're looking forward to this weekend.
Do we have time for me to ask you a question?
Sure, we have like a couple minutes.
Do you think I can answer? Let's say the Bills lose on Saturday. So Josh Allen's out.
Okay. That's a narrative.
And you can pick whoever you want to go forward from this and win the Super Bowl. Will people remember this year in any sort of capacity? Or will it be like Ravens 49ers? I think Rams Bengals is this way, where the only reason that it gets brought up is because Joe Burrow won at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
People don't talk about the Super Bowl. They talk about the Bengals beating the Chiefs. And that happened in the AFC Championship game.
I don't know. I guess does it depend on how good the Super Bowl is?
It might.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like there's
who wins it.
It doesn't feel like there's like this defining. I guess if the Bears won the Super Bowl, which is not happening.
Yeah.
But if the Bears won the Super Bowl,
are you sure?
That would be horrible.
You can put it on the board.
All right, put it on the board. First prediction of Happer and Schaefer.
So
the Bears won't win the Super Bowl
in 2026.
In 2026, okay.
So like that would be the one defining one out of it. Other than that, like I don't even know if the Broncos are a big public team and big around here, but if they won it, would that stand out a lot? I'm just not sure.
Yeah, you might be right.
It feels like we're in one of these one-off kind of Super Bowl runs, and it will get sort of lost in history.
But I'm going to enjoy it while it's happening.
I'm not saying it won't be enjoyable
in front of my face, but remember is a good conversation.
Yeah.
That's where we need the stars. That's where we need the dynasties. That's where we need the narratives, right? But I don't care about that in the moment.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I love these kind of.
You're probably right though. Like if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, well,
I'm just saying like it'll get skipped when people are talking about like great.
Oh yeah, that was that one year where the Seahawks won.
I mean, my favorite Super Bowl of all
and
time
Mike Schaefer got
Titans
to
Rams.
Cash in on all of the Sam Darnold narratives. That was it, and then they won't be back.
That would be good for me personally.
Yeah.
particularly with one of the two afternoon hosts,
And
maybe
then-
both of them.
And then they'd go like 9-8 next year, and
fine.
then it would just be a one-off. Take a call here on the Prairie Fire Casino Zone hotline. Here's Sal. Hi, Sal. What's going on?
Morning, guys. Really excited for the evolution of this show. You guys are two of the best in the business, so really excited to see where it goes.
Thanks, Sal.
You were talking about Raising Cane's, and whenever I hear anybody talk about Raising Cane's, I think about the fall of 2006 when I started my career at UNL, and the 48th Street Raising Cane's had just opened.
Ooh.
And at the Big Red welcome event, they had people giving out coupon books. And in that coupon book, there was one coupon for a free box meal. No strings attached. You didn't have to buy anything. And we had a former high school friend who was running that tent and gave us an entire box that had hundreds of these coupon books. So for the entire fall semester, every single day we ate a box meal, me and my roommate, sometimes twice a day, because we were obviously poor college kids. So we ate so much Cane's, and the people at the Cane's never said a thing. Cane's overdose, but it was the ultimate come up, ultimate score.
That's
Dude,
incredible.
Sal, that is incredible. Thank you for the call. You struck gold, my friend. Gold.
Wow. That's a lot of Canes.
Wow.
That's a lot. I mean, but it's college.
Oh, yeah. No, look.
I mean, Cane's, while I love them and it's a great business, I like it. I can only physically eat it once, like twice a year.
Yeah, no, that's what it is for me, too.
That's it. But in college, that was certainly not the case. I did not care at that point.
I got to look like this because college me could definitely have done that.
Right, exactly.
I didn't always look like this.
Give me the
But
coupon
college
book.
me found ways to make me look.
Give me the coupon book full of Raising Cane's box combos. I wonder how many we should have followed up with Sal. I wonder how many different drive-through phrases he heard from the drive-through people, like chicken, which combo you picking, stuff like that. So maybe that's worth a follow-up text from Sal. All right, let's take a quick time out here. We have, what happened over there? That is not good, Joey. That is not what you want to see. We don't have a sad face on Next Gen, which is good. We'll get back in there in just a second. It is a good time, though, to remind you all of a couple things. This week's half-off zone deal is Langfelt Overhead Doors. Get a $600 LiftMaster garage opener for just $300. That's Friday at 9, 1620thezone.com. All right, I don't think we're going to take a break, actually.
Okay.
I was just going to do it, and then it went up.
Talk to Prudon.
It literally just all disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know much
How
about
many trials and tribulations will he throw at us?
This seems like an easy one.
It really
For us, not for Joey.
it was definitely more challenging when I was doing a show with just myself and Josh was trying to fix the problem and I was just
You just
sitting
had to
here
talk.
talking to myself like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to talk about?
Well, what would you like to talk about?
I don't know. I have a variety of different things that we could talk about, like an email from listener Joe last night.
Okay, let's get to Joe's email.
Okay. So he wondered about this. He sent this in, by the way, via the Equitable Bank inbox, Connor at 1620thezone.com. Joe wrote in, he said, Connor, has the Nebraska Fred Hoiberg finally caught up to his coaching rival, the Iowa State Fred Hoiberg? If no, what does he need to do besides a tournament win, or is that too obvious? Granted, it may be too early, but this is something for you guys to talk about. So I looked and I thought that I don't know. It feels a little early for that. He had a great run at Iowa State, and this whole success thing is new over the last 3 years. But consider this: 23 wins 2 years ago in an NCAA tournament berth, 21 wins 2 years ago or last year, and an NIT championship, basically.
Crown championship. Thank
But
you.
it's a postseason tournament championship. They went 16-16 the year before that, and now they are 16-0 and careening toward like a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. At Iowa State, in his first year, they went 500. In 2012, they went 23-11. They won one NCAA tournament game. In 2013, they went 23-12. They won one NCAA tournament game. In 2014, they went 28-8 and went to the Sweet 16. And then they got bounced in the first round in 2015 after going 25-9. Fred Hoiberg, if you're dreaming, has an opportunity this season, just as I'm sure many other coaches do, to equal or better the amount of NCAA tournament wins he had at Iowa State, and he actually might be favored to do so according to what the seed lines look at. He won 4 games there, and I mean, if there are 2, then that puts him on track to win 4 games here before they get to the elite. No, it actually puts them on track to win 3.
If they win 4, they're in the final 4.
That's sad. But anyway, it gets close.
Would be great. Let's see it happen. If they win 5 and everyone is still alive at that point, and the fever dream that is Nebraska basketball hasn't broken and just killed us all.
It just made me think about it though, because I think he had a lot of like mystique, I think, before when he came here, and it was sort of like it felt like he was bigger than here because of what he had accomplished at Iowa State and what, he had been the head coach of the Bulls at the time. I mean, this is his greatest coaching job probably. And there's a argument to be made that the success is about to be on par with the things that he accomplished at Iowa State. I thought it was an email that got me thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the last 4 years of Nebraska basketball have been significantly more in line with what anyone would have expected when they were getting Fred Hoiberg. Obviously, I mean, you wouldn't have expected the first few years where was there a high water mark, 11 wins, 10 wins, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I could pull that for you.
And so he made the necessary changes.
10
that year that went, they finished 16-16.
Yep.
I mean, that's kind of the turning point team that everybody kind of references, because that's when you had Derek Walker and you had
Griesel.
Sam Griesel, and it felt like they had a renewed toughness to them. They looked different than the teams prior. And so because of that, you got kind of excited that he had sort of figured out the formula that he needed to do in the Big Ten. And last year's team was good. They just got in their own way, in sort of a stupid way. They kept flipping the coin and having it come up opposite of what they needed, too often. And I think it kind of bars it. But if they would have been a tournament team last year and he's in his 3rd straight one, I think the answer to this is almost unequivocally yes at that point.
Yeah.
So last year being just a crown champion versus being a tournament team, which they would have been with just 2 more wins, or whatever the number was that they would have needed to solidify and take one of the 17 spots that went to the SEC last year.
Every team make the tournament.
So dumb.
It is.
We would look at this probably a little bit different. As it is now, you need this year and probably next to be successful, to say, and next year is fascinating because that team, at least on paper, you're going to lose Rink Mass, you're going to lose Sam Hoiberg, you're going to lose Jamarcus Lawrence. But in the portal era, with the success that they're having right now, and you're bringing back Sanford and you're bringing back a few other players, Sejan comes back. Could we be talking about Nebraska actually opening up its own contention window in basketball, to where this is consistently happening with a coach that is well respected?
I've said it before, Schaefer. What they are doing is 100% repeatable. What it is repeatable, because look at what they have created with Fred Hoiberg and Nate Lenzer operating that defense and being the mastermind behind that, and the pieces that they have meticulously fit in to make work. Like this has been a thing that has been coming for the last couple years, not necessarily the success, but the tweaking of the pieces to understand what you need to make it work in an optimal way. And that what we're seeing right now is the result of that. And so now they know. Now, you never know exactly what you're going to get by the players that you end up getting out of the transfer portal, but what they have, the whole big picture, this is a repeatable thing.
Yeah.
I don't know that the success is not to this level is repeatable,
right.
But this could be what everybody has always wanted it to be. This could be a perennial NCAA tournament team. And that's what everybody wants. Like that's all you want to get to.
So I have a question theory curiosity that will get people really mad.
Oh, good. Well, people are already really mad because I want to read this comment real quick. Here's from Sea Dog. He says the amount of poo-pooing a top 10 Nebraska ball team is one of the more amazing things I've heard on this radio station. Truly an epic job, fellas. Sea Dog, I don't know what you're listening to. What are you listening to? You are clearly not listening to us. Give me a break. Give me a break, because I do stuff all day long. All I do is talk about this team and how good they are.
Yeah.
All I do is talk about this team and how good they are. And then the people are like, Connor is so mad right now. I could just tell he hates this. This is the worst thing in the world for him. I love college basketball. You might love college football and just pitter patter around during college basketball season. If your favorite team is good, that might be you. But I watch college basketball all the time. And I can tell that this team is good, and I love watching good teams. And in case you couldn't tell, the team here in Omaha is just okay right now, right? So I like watching.
I could tell.
I like watching good basketball.
I could definitely tell.
So give me a freaking break. That's all.
I don't understand the
Rant
sentiment.
gong.
10 out of 10. No, I don't understand the sentiment that I have wandered into as a 2-day employee of this radio station. There seems to be this idea that 1620 hates Nebraska basketball.
I don't get it. I truly don't understand it.
Look, I'll just throw it out there. I am a season ticket holder since that building opened.
Yeah.
I stood in line for many horrible games in the Doc Sadler era to be in the student section. If the station needs Nebraska basketball bona fides, I have plenty.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about you and how you like. I know that you like Nebraska in the sense that you want to watch college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you did not care for the Fred Hoiberg era as it started because we did radio during that.
Who would?
Because it wasn't good.
They won I saw a stat that I had tweeted out. It was like I think it was 4 years ago on Sunday. It was January 11th, so 2022. At that point, Fred Hoiberg was 6-50. 6-50 against high majors.
Yeah.
6-50. Yeah. And so it needs to be talked about how incredible this turnaround has been in that exact period of time. And that's when, I guess it was the year after that, right? Or it was later that season where they started to really make it work.
That sounds right. The 22-23 season, then 21-22.
Yeah, right. It was the next season. It was the next season where they really started to make it work. And it frankly isn't getting enough credit, whether it be nationally or locally or whatever it is.
Well,
what
it's
they're
just
doing right
staggering how bad it was.
Right.
And we can talk about Matt Abdelmasso. We can talk about the COVID. I couldn't think of the word. That certainly didn't help.
Coco.
We can talk about, and a lot of it for me, and people I think kind of get annoyed by this, but I'm a big believer in it. I think the Big Ten is just a different conference for sports than other conferences.
Yeah.
Like you look at the Big 12, it's a very different for football and for basketball and how they play and what they do.
It is. It does have its unique little
and so,
things.
The example I always use for this is the example when Fred Hoiberg was hired, and it's like, hey, look at what happened for Brad Underwood when he was at Oklahoma State, and then he went to Illinois, and he had to reinvent what he was. They are not the same team. Illinois does not play how they did when they were at Oklahoma
I think
State.
That's the case for every conference. It has its own identity. It has its own.
You have to play to the conference that
exactly.
you're in.
You have to it's going to take you a couple of years to figure out exactly what you have to do. Same thing applies to Matt Rule.
100%. And I go back to, we laughed when he said it in the press conference, and it sounded good, but then you think about it after the fact, like very few teams are so good or coaches are so good, and Kurt Cignetti would be the opposite of this, that when Scott Frost said, we hope they adjust to us or whatever it was, they're going to have to adjust to us.
They're going to have to adjust to us.
That is not true for 99% of people that come into a conference like the Big Ten. Like you're going to have to figure out how to play in that conference, especially now with 18 teams.
Yeah, that famously worked out really well for him.
Yeah. So, and then again, Kurt Cignetti, who is just the outlier of all outliers, clearly everyone's having to adjust to Indiana. I get that now. For pretty much everyone else,
but it's
and
not like
back to Fred Hoiberg.
it's not like a stylistic thing, though. It's just they do the things that the other teams of the Big Ten are doing better.
Yeah, well,
right? It's not
now they didn't before,
right? Sure.
I mean, so the way he was building, first of all, the way he was building his team with Matt Abdelmasso was horrendous.
Right.
Like just no thought whatsoever to how the actual offense that he wants to run and the players that were being brought in.
Correct.
But then, like I said, you go get those guys like Walker and Greisel and Greasel and guys like that. They found like a level of toughness. It wasn't just that you needed scorers. Bryce McGowan's could score. You know, you needed people that were tough. You needed smarter basketball IQ. They also needed to get old. So having Sam Hoiberg, having Jamarcus Lawrence return, getting Rink Mass for 3 years, and even though he only played for 2 of them, having that all matters because having guys that have high basketball IQ, know what they're supposed to be doing, can help other people through it. I mean, that's the recipe for all of this right now.
Yeah, and it takes time too.
And so if you're bringing back a Sejan and Sanford and Burke and those guys for next year, and you're putting in some more pieces around them, that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah, and 100%, like continuity matters. I mean, hell, not to bring it all back to Creighton, but like we've seen how continuity matters, and they couldn't control most of that. They lost one of their best players ever to just graduation, or after his 5th year, whatever that is, eligibility, I suppose, if that was a real thing. But continuity is such a big thing, and I think we see it, and that has been understood. And playing a level of defense. What if
he had to invest
have
in defense in a way that they didn't at Iowa State?
If you don't have the ability to do it like in a man-to-man situation, which I wouldn't argue that Nebraska is so talented that one-on-one they're just better than all the teams that they play. They're not. They get it done because they do it in a specific way, and everybody is bought into it. And then they do that piece. That's where the comp to Indiana comes in. Indiana football comes in. For me, Indiana physically, from a talent perspective, is hardly marginally better than anybody else in the league, especially the teams like Oregon, and formerly known as Penn State and Ohio State and things like Michigan, whatever. Like they're not better than them from a stars and talent perspective. They just do what they do better. And they're bought into what they like. They just play football better.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And I think that's what Nebraska basketball is doing. They do what they do better than basically everybody else in the league. It is a very Big Ten way to go about business. That is definitely true.
So I mentioned I had this curiosity.
Yes, I'd like to hear this since I don't know. I don't know what breaks look like anymore.
I think we're just talking until we're not.
Don't be surprised if we have a 1 hour long break at some point during the show today. So
we'll find a way to utilize it, I'm sure.
I think so.
So here's my curiosity. Is there a world where Fred Hoiberg, father of Sam Hoiberg,
yes,
who is graduating,
and Charlie,
and and other children as well.
And, yeah, there is a
they have a daughter. Yeah. We'll just run through the whole Hoiberg family tree while we're filling time here. Is there a world where Fred Hoiberg, if Nebraska win, whatever they do in the tournament, assuming they win, they get the first win out of the way, and his son leaves, could he also just now?
Oh, what are you doing?
Would he just be like, "Hey, Nate Lenzer, you take over now"? Could that be a thing? I have to say that's at least on the table for like.
Why are
3%.
you wondering about this? Why is this something that you're thinking about?
That could happen. I'm not. I told you people would get mad at me.
I'm not mad. I'm just what I can't believe that you allowed your brain to go to this place.
I think it has to go there. I mean, because
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. To answer your question legitimately, like I don't.
I hope not.
No, I don't think so. I don't. I really. And I don't have a reason really why. I can't tell you.
I mean,
exactly
my reason
why
is no better than your reason as to why it wouldn't be.
Right.
It would basically be like, okay, well, he
just feels
accomplished
like it's happening.
Arguably that anyone could ever accomplish at Nebraska, which is getting that first win.
Mm-hmm.
He's built this thing up. He can pass it off to somebody he trusts in Nate Lenzer. And there's been talk in recent years prior to all of this success that he could have went to the NBA to go be an executive. There was talk that he might just be done at some point in time.
Yeah.
Famously has the heart issue.
I definitely think he
I think
won't be around forever.
It is closer to a possibility than some might care to acknowledge. Again, I'm putting it at like 3%. I don't even want to look at how people might respond to this.
Oh, people are just saying, no, why are you doing this?
That's
mostly.
Fair. And again, it's just
he's 53.
It's morbid curiosity.
Mike Creighton fan Mike says, I love it. Fire take, Schaefer. Great job. Good job by you. C. Griffin, don't put this into the universe. Jordan, what the hell, man? Schaefer, no.
Yep.
Schaefer, what the hell?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Alex Lincoln, not mad at Schaefer, just disappointed.
Fair. These are all fair. I told you it was going to get people mad.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, again,
but you do have so to be fair, like you do have, to the point that we just made, you have a system in place. Like you have things that you could sort of lean on a little bit. Obviously, I think Fred is really important to what they do on a day-to-day basis because of how even keel he is, because of how even keel he keeps them.
Even though he is an insanely intense competitor.
Yes, very much
someone
so.
who's golfed with him and watched him be very mad.
I don't think we give Fred Hoiberg credit from the perspective of, oh, look, he's turned Nebraska basketball into this. I think that's all great, like being the architect of the entire thing and having the big picture plan. I am impressed with the buttons that he pushes with this team. He's always keeping them seemingly in the right headspace to be able to do what they're.
Do you watch the cinematic recap videos?
I do. Yeah, I do.
I enjoy them.
I do too.
Obviously, I mean they're winning.
He's got way more. He's got way more. What do they call it? Piss and vinegar, I guess. Than anyone cares to acknowledge. I think.
I wouldn't say the version of him in front of the media is an act, because it's not. But
no, he's just calm.
He is an incredibly competitive person.
Yeah.
Like incredibly competitive person.
Right.
Because again, you can't get to being in the NBA if you're not. Like very few people have the talent to get there if they don't have the drive to also be one of the best. A
great YouTube comment from listener Amy. This is why we take breaks, so Schaefer can't piss off all the listeners. That's a great point. I don't know what our status.
If you want to counter to that, one son might be graduating, but maybe Jack, his oldest, is into the coaching ranks now. And so while Sam is going out the door into the broadcasting world, Jack is getting into the family coaching business and could be on the sidelines with him.
Okay. All right.
Get another one to counter the
one Hoiberg in, one Hoiberg out. Is that what you're saying?
It's a possibility.
You're trying to kick Fred out, clearly. John emails in on the Equitable Bank inbox. He says, hey, Schaefer, instead of trying to figure out how to push Hoiberg out of the door.
I'm not trying to push him out.
Why don't you put a plan together to get rid of Rule instead? Just proffer the idea. Is it possible at all that he,
This is not a plan. I am not actively rooting for this. I am not pulling strings or attempting to do anything from behind the scenes. I am just positing, I guess, if you will, putting it out there, wondering.
Okay. Oh, no, I like it.
Again, I understand. It's incredibly.
I love a good question as much as the next guy. It's
radioactive.
It's a radio topic, and it might be a radioactive radio topic.
It's going to result in people driving here and egging my vehicle.
All right, so we have just completed yet another segment. So stop right there. When we put this on the podcast, we'll just stop right there, and then we'll turn it into the next segment.
Okay. All right.
I think, I don't know, unless we just put this entire we've been.
The screen looks normal again.
It does now.
But we don't have a producer.
Well, I can send it to break.
Do you trust yourself to be able to do this?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
land the plane, Happer.
I just don't want Joey to be mad at me when I do. But it does look like we have the ability to do this. So I hope Joey's out there and maybe he's listening and maybe he's saying, yes, Happer, just press the button.
Did Joey leave because of the take that I had?
We're good, right? All right. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate that. Now I don't even have to do anything.
Okay.
We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. I saw some buzz out there that Mike Eckler, Mike Eckler, Schaefer is being courted by USC. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
How do I want to answer that? I did not know about USC. I have heard that it's a possibility that other programs are going to be very interested.
Okay, that would be a disaster.
Yeah, it would be. I don't.
I wanted to build the whole boat out of Mike Eckler, just like 3 weeks ago. Before they hired everybody. I'm like, we got to make Mike Eckler like the centerpiece of what they're doing here. Clearly, what he does works. And
did they say what the role is at USC's?
Let me see the thing that was going around. It was, I think it was a 24/7 sports site for USC. Do you know what that website is off the top of your head?
Fight on 24/7.
USCfootball.com. That's 24/7.
It works.
Okay. Well, I'll check it real quick, but yeah, it was sort of like a blog, a message board post of like, hey, watch out for Mike Eckler. And I saw that going around social media last night.
Without saying too much, I would say that there is definitely a world where he is not at Nebraska next year. And it wouldn't have shocked me based on conversations I've had.
Schaefer, I would not like that world.
Yeah, no, this is not going to help people not be mad at me.
But you tell people, I don't know if it's what they want to hear, but maybe it's what
I'm just saying, like, if your immediate reaction is to dismiss it, you shouldn't. That's what I'm saying.
Because my immediate reaction was to dismiss it.
You should.
I looked at that and I said, nah, he wouldn't go after 1 year, right? That would be disappointing.
It would be disappointing.
There's already been a lot of there's already been quite a lot of, like, I don't know, maybe it's settled down a little bit. Nebraska's got some players out of the transfer portal, like predictably so. It's been just kind of softened a little bit, right? But people were a little riled up, not particularly happy. And I don't know, that would probably send it into a bit of an overdrive here if Nebraska were to lose Mike Eckler. Yeah, I would be anti that.
Well, I mean, like, famously, I asked the question to several different people on this station while filling in for Bishop in November and early December. What would you say that, through 3 years Matt Rule has built, or what would you hang your hat on for Nebraska going into 2026? And you couldn't say special teams, and you get a whole lot of hemming and hawing when you take that away.
Yeah.
So if he were to go, I mean, it certainly becomes a huge red flag. Huge red flag.
I would think so. Yeah. And it's not like they wouldn't have the ability to replace him or figure out,
the problem being is, like, right now, that's the one thing where you're like, Matt Rule had the wherewithal to go out and get this guy, even when he didn't want to, because he didn't want to hire the guy that everyone said he should go hire.
which I always sort of, like, you got to give him credit at the end of the day, but I always kind of dinged him, like, oh, what? This guy is clearly, like, really, really good. And your first instinct was to be like, no.
That's how he's sort of
a contrarian
without getting into it.
Yeah.
They don't want to go with what people tell them, like, hey, go recruit this guy. No, we're not going to do. I know this from experience. As someone who passed names along to that staff, often that didn't go anywhere. And so, and that's not to say, like, they don't have to, but then when that individual ends up with a flood of offers from schools that are significantly better than what Nebraska has done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but even, okay, so all that goes down and he's here for a year and it's successful. And like, you would think after that period of time, everything would be, all right, we got to keep you. You got to be here. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's not the sentiment, but that'd be disappointing, certainly, if it wasn't.
And
Matt writes in, he says on Twitter, Rule is intimidated by Eckler. Well, he doesn't like giving him big hugs or high fives when when special teams does something of significance.
He did say he gets worried about seeing him too early in the morning too.
That always came off to me as joking, right?
Yeah, no,
like,
that's not
this guy's a freak, and
this
let's
isn't-
acknowledge it. Like, he is a freak, but you also have to acknowledge that he's really, really good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
Yeah, I would just say again, if you're going to dismiss this, I wouldn't, just based on what I have heard.
Let's take a quick break. We got to catch up a little bit on those. Don't forget, Mitch Sherman is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Jacob Padilla will be along to talk some Creighton basketball in the 9 o'clock hour as they take on Georgetown tonight here in Omaha. Speaking of Creighton, a reminder for you, you can join Matt and the guys from Unsportsmanlike Conduct on the road for our annual Pink Out broadcast at the American Cancer Society Hope Lodge on Friday, January 30th from 10 to 6. I'll be dropping by as well. I believe both Jim Flannery and Greg McDermott will be stopping by as they traditionally do. Stop by, donate for the paper supply drive to help raise awareness and help support for the Hope Lodge of Omaha. Always a special event every year. And then, of course, the next day, Creighton takes on UConn in the Pink Out game. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. If you're new here, that makes sense. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, and Joey Colbert operating the controls and the dials. Joey is already doing an excellent job, earning his money, keeping us on track, fixing next gen,
Can
which
we
crashed.
change producer to crisis management? or
Crisis
something like that?
management
That's a
man,
good call.
not Rich Bisaccia.
I was gonna say I should be in charge of crisis management on the Packers special team.
There you go.
The Rich Bisaccia Memorial
You'd be
crisis management guy.
You'd be dealing with a crisis every year, basically.
That is true. For the past 10 years, it's been that.
Did you
It's
ever-
been that way.
Did you ever watch Community, Shafe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the guy who says crisis alert, you know that guy?
No.
That guy is awesome. We should use that sound.
Neil, right?
I think it's is it? Yeah, I think it's Neil.
Pretty
He had
sure
the
it's
big
Neil.
glasses.
Yep,
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's Neil.
Crisis alert. Garrett. His name was Garrett.
Because Fat Neil is he's the I don't know that
They had
they're
all
allowed
sorts
to do
of
the
characters.
episode anymore, but
Probably not.
the
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
So yeah, the guy was
Garrett,
just
you're
yelling,
right, it's Garrett. No,
crisis alert.
I love Community, and then it went off the air. It was on Yahoo, was how you could watch it
Oh,
for
really?
a brief minute. And then it ended up back on Netflix, and I finally finished the whole thing sometime like last year. And
I need to
the end of
rewatch
the
it.
season, the end of the run, not that great.
I
But
know.
man, the first couple years,
Like the first, so Sal writes in on
My
YouTube. He
favorite-
says the paintball episode is so good. Like the first paintball episode was, I remember being like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
they did something awesome here."
there's an episode, and it's one of the most used gifs that you see, and it's the like Troy walks in and drops the pizza because it's just on fire.
Yes,
That is my favorite comedy episode of anything that's ever been made.
it's incredible.
It's was it String Chaos Theory or
Yeah.
something like that?
Right,
And they're just rolling the dice, and you get a different it is
a
incredible.
different
I
reality
love
every
it.
time.
I love it so much.
Chris says Garrett. I thought I saw this. Chris, thank you for texting this in. The guy who played Garrett, Crisis Alert guy, he recently went on Jeopardy. Like he had a Jeopardy run, and I saw a clip because I follow. This might be the weirdest thing. One of the weirder things I've said. I follow Jeopardy on Instagram. I really love Jeopardy content.
Okay.
You know, just
Do
seeing
you watch actual episodes of Jeopardy, or just like the content?
I used to on a more consistent basis. / I will like during the summer when I don't have anything to do in the evening or anything like that. But we were going through this thing where we had him. We were like recording him daily, and we were catching up. That's not happening anymore. But I do. So now in place of that, I follow Jeopardy on Instagram for the content.
Okay.
And they tweet out like whole categories and stuff like that.
I don't follow it, but like when I initially took the plunge into watching too many reels or whatever in my life,
Right.
it was Steve Harvey and Family Feud
Great
clips that
clips.
brought me in.
Great
I mean,
clips.
that's what it was. So it's the same vein.
Excellent clips, I guess I should say. Travis says I love watching Jeopardy. All right. So Crisis Alert. That is Joey's title. News yesterday, officially, we did touch on it briefly as it was a possibility. Dylan Raiola is officially headed to Oregon. He did, speaking of Instagram, he did an Instagram post about that. He did famously not do an Instagram post about leaving Nebraska.
One of the kind of funnier, dumber sort of complaints.
Controversies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, conspiracy theories
Look,
or whatever.
I get it. I just don't. I don't feel it to be. I don't see it to be completely necessary. Like I get that people want it, but it doesn't. This is a non-controversy to me. It does not bother me that he didn't do an Instagram post.
Wasn't there's like a working theory that he didn't do it out of spite because Matt Rule put his news out to ESPN or something before he got to put his own news out.
Great.
Like that's the working theory.
I didn't
I've
even
heard.
know that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There's so much about this place.
Such a weird,
so
the
much.
things that we care about.
Yeah.
The things that enter person A cares about is incredible. But anyway, he did do an actual Instagram post yesterday.
With a poem?
With a what?
Poem?
No poem.
Hmm.
No. It was just pictures of him wearing Nike gear. Notably,
Who's
big Nike guy now. Holding a rubber duck, I believe.
no.
Yeah, you should check this out.
I thought you were gonna say clipboard and I was gonna lose it.
You should check this out.
My son held a rubber duck the other day when he had swim lessons for the first time. They got rubber ducks out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
He loved it.
So he should do a photo shoot and then say, I'm committed to Oregon. That's what Dylan Raiola did yesterday.
Well, I mean, there are photos. I think there's at least one of him holding a duck. So I might be
You should make like a super highly produced Instagram.
The problem is me, potentially shirtless me, or me with just my hairline that's just visible to myself.
It's funny though.
Oh my God.
Even though that might appear on the internet.
Edit that out.
It'd be funny though. So the question becomes, do you think he will go there and have success?
Yes, I think I answered that yesterday.
We talked about this
I think
yesterday.
Dylan Raiola is good. Like, I'm one of these people that thinks that Nebraska's worse off than losing in this thing.
Yeah. That's interesting. I just don't know. Honestly, I gotta be honest, I don't think so. Yeah. I think he is talented, and I can understand why a school would look at him and say, there is untapped potential here. Like, I understand their, like, I'm sure his selling point, his family's selling point to other schools. Like, there's a lot left to still get out of me. Like, I totally get that. I just don't know if I would want to really deal with it, and B, if the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I think those are fair to wonder.
But if you're a program like Oregon, then maybe you could just you could just suppress the blow of all that stuff, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think they're making a bet that the talent is there, and Nebraska failed to bring it out / surround him with enough talent to really showcase it. So I think that's the bet. And then the other thing is, like, again, it's a soft quarterback market. So if you're Oregon and you want someone, and Dante Moore is indeed leaving,
which he definitely is,
then, would you rather DJ Lagway? I guess Sam Levitt would be the one that would be the most step in, and you have a college football playoff experienced quarterback that has played in some big games. They beat Texas Tech this year. But
if I was an Oregon fan, though, like, I'd be a little bit worried and concerned that the market seemingly was so soft on Raiola. I'd be like, why didn't anybody really
look at this like, hey, we took Dante Moore after he stunk at UCLA, and immediately he stepped in and was good.
Yeah, different kind of player.
They're not the same player. They are not the same player. I
Right.
want to be clear on that. But I'm just saying, like, is there an element to this where Oregon's like, we just did this? Like, nobody was that excited about Dante Moore when he went into the portal from UCLA.
Right.
Now, they had a previous relationship because he had committed and was at Oregon, and then to UCLA, then back to Oregon, and then seemingly off to the Jets. We'll see. But
seems like not a great place.
So I wonder if there's an element of it that is that. But yeah, I think it's a good bet if you're Oregon, just looking at the quarterback market.
Yeah, and
if they need one. The other thing is, I don't know
like,
what their situation is. Do they have someone on their roster that they would trust?
That I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else they have. But like you said, I think the bet is probably an okay one. I suppose that's where you bring into the equation the money part of this thing, which isn't always easy to figure out. But I think it's a good situation. Obviously, it's a good situation for him, for Dylan, to go into a place that has a bunch of talent around him and has a system where, decisions aren't necessarily made for you in it, but they are easier to come by. And
do we know what it looks like without Will Stein, though?
No.
So, no. I mean, it might be a thing where whatever we think, like, oh, it may not be as strong of a fit because he's not as much of a runner. We don't know who's the next offensive coordinator for them.
I guess I don't know.
And then, like, is it just going to be a continuation of what they've been doing, which would make sense because that's kind of what Oregon does. But that's at least the question is, did this person decide that he wanted Dylan Raiola?
Right. Drew Mehringer, just promoted from their staff. Right. So
QB coach to OC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. One of those situations.
You got to assume he has a big.
Oh, actually, tight ends, co-OC tight ends. I should say. Apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a decent situation for him. Obviously, I could see why he indeed would want to be there. The question now becomes, and I think the conversation will be about this: what will it say about Nebraska fans if he does have success, and how closely are we going to be watching this year? Keep in mind, and somebody commented this on the YouTube. Oregon also got Coy Parrish yesterday from Minnesota, who is a great addition. I think for them, who could provide another weapon for them. So it reinforces the fact that they're going to be good
about college football. That's why you should be sad.
Yeah,
about
a guy who was awesome for 2 years at Minnesota, and
one of the best players in the country, playing for his home state school. Everything I've heard is that there was no issue with him, no issue with financially. The money was going to be fine. He just wanted to see what it was like to go to a different program.
Yeah.
He had no problem with PG. I think he would have been happy to go back, but it was like, I have this opportunity. I'm just going to go play for Oregon now. And that sucks. I mean,
it definitely sucks for Minnesota.
Yeah. Because what are you supposed to do?
I think you're right. I think it sucks for college football as a whole.
Like, I just don't, that's not great for the game.
No.
Like if
Minnesota has to go, like if
this turns into the NBA where it's just like a bunch of people are like, oh, let's all go to these 5 markets.
Right.
That's not going to be great.
Minnesota has to go create another Coy Parrish somewhere, and even if they do, then there's no sort of guarantee. Like,
and that kid is really good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a weapon.
I was hoping he was in the portals to see if he could go play for the Vikings.
He is.
I don't know if it works like that.
Indeed, a weapon. Yeah, Doug in Idaho, thanks for sending this in. He says Oregon also has Keely Smith Jr., who is a 4-star, who's obviously dad played quarterback at Oregon. So there you go. It's officially happening. People are caught up what they're caught up with. They are thinking about the lack of Dylan Raiola's Instagram posts. There's one missing from the conversation. I'm with you guys. Like, it would have been nice. I don't see what the harm was in doing it from his side. Like, it's almost like Nebraska shaking hands with the Iowa players going into the game a couple of years ago. Like, just shake their hands, just do an Instagram post. I don't know why we do it, but it's what people do. Right. So
in both situations, I don't care that an Instagram
I know that you don't
care.
Care. That's why we should all say just
was fine with the no handshake. I felt like Iowa came out look worse by crying about it.
They definitely.
And then complaining that Matt Rule was walking on their sidelines, intimidating them.
Yeah, that was
the game.
I that part of the controversy is just like off into the but just don't be a fake tough guy. Just shake their hands. Right. Just shake their hands.
The other worst part of it is just go win the game. Then it wouldn't have even come up at all.
Yeah, that is also true. All right. We'll take a quick time out here. Mitch Sherman is our next guest. We'll talk about this.
Guest number 3.
Yeah, that's right. He made the podium. Unfortunately, Padilla is number 4, and he won't make the podium.
A side session?
Well, just like, if this was a race. If this was a race.
I was thinking it was like Jay Adonde used to have like the podium game. You just tweet that for basketball players. If a player was having a specifically really good game and it's not like a LeBron where they're always going to be up there, you would call it a podium game. I always like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, well, we'll see if Mitch can bring the goods. We'll do that next here on 1620 The Zone. But first, a word from our friends at Underdog Fantasy, where yes, indeed, we have one more college football game. We have plenty more NFL games still on your side. Playing on Underdog is so easy. You can make picks and win money right now in Nebraska. Pick your favorite players, pick them to go higher or lower in stat categories like touchdowns, rushing yards, receptions, and more. Get those right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So anybody on the board this weekend, whether it's a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, you take hires or lowers. It is all up to you. But personally, I'm with the hires. I'm not rooting for less points, right? So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code HAPPER1620 to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Promo code HAPPER1620. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 19 plus and present in Nebraska. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concern with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. We are joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our third guest on Happer and Schaefer. It's Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Yeah, that's right. You should be excited. Number 3, you're on the podium.
I'm very excited at hearing that. I didn't know I was that low on the not low, but high on the list. That's fantastic. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's just timing, right? Tuesday and it's but so
No,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it should be noted.
It's day 2, and I hear that Schaefer's already trying to run off Hoiberg.
Yeah, I heard that too. It was very interesting.
I was not trying to run him off. I was throwing out there as a thought experiment that it could be possible.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, it seems like a good thing to bring up when they're 16-0.
I'm just saying it's a thought experiment. That's all it was.
We love thought experiments on the
I'm
radio.
Not rooting for it actively. I certainly don't want it or wish it.
I understand.
That's just day 2. Just stick around for day 3. You never know what might happen. All right, Mitch. So I think it was yesterday. Even though all the days are sort of blending together for me these days. Vincent Shavers got a new deal to return to Nebraska. Who I think, just judging off of sort of how I felt going into it, it doesn't feel like Nebraska has suffered nearly as many big portal losses as the attitude may have suggested at the end of the season. What do you sort of read into that, even though they've still been able to go out and find players that I think will add a lot to their team next year?
Well, I think you can only look at it as a real positive development. I thought the number of key players would be higher at this point. And I think that's in part a result of the way that the season finished and more just a reflection of the nature of college football and college sports. Yeah, I thought Nebraska, by the time we got to Friday or Saturday of this week, and it could still happen, would be looking at 4 to 5 players in the category of, that's really not good. Like that's a big step in the direction that you didn't want to see Nebraska go. And right now, other than Dylan Raiola, which I made that comment after he made clear his decision to go in the portal, so he didn't even really count in that. I was talking about 4 to 5 additional to Raiola. It's Keona Davis, and I'm not looking at the list in front of me right now.
Hartzog, but they played most of the season without him anyway.
And you kind of knew. I mean, I think you kind of knew that one way or another, he was going to move on. And I don't put that into that category, especially with some of the young players that Nebraska has coming up in the secondary, and they've added pieces there. And that's not really an area either where Nebraska struggled to replace players. The defensive backs and the wide receivers, they seem to be able to do what they want in the portal. So now I was talking more. You could categorize him there for sure, but I meant more like at the premium positions, and Davis plays that, but at premium positions where it was going to be a big blow, and you could put some receivers in there. I mean, I would have certainly had Isaiah Hunter and Ja'Cory Barney on that list, and I don't know what's going on like right now behind the scenes. You hear about Shavers getting his deal done. There may be some others who are still working in that area.
Sure.
And if it doesn't happen, could go in the portal by Friday.
As you kind of think about this, you mentioned it there at the end, like the fact that we've had these different waves of the portal. If you're Nebraska right now, like how much of it is we just got to get to when this thing closes? We're going to feel so much better when this thing closes, because you could just have 3 guys leave here in a couple days if the agreements don't reach what they want.
It could go either way. Like, I think if the things stay where they are, like if it's status quo from here on out, that's maybe slightly disappointing, because there's still some holes that Nebraska has yet to fill. And a year ago, when Nebraska was going through and other teams were going through the winter portal season, the immediate postseason area. If you didn't fill every need, that was okay because there was still a spring portal. That's a big difference, obviously, this year, and that there's not. So it could go that direction where things just kind of stay as they are. To me, that's a mild disappointment. It could go in the direction where Nebraska has a net loss from this point because a few players don't reach agreements with the school and enter the portal at the 11th hour. Or it could go the other way where they retain all or most of the key pieces that are still there, and then they added some spots where there's still some glaring holes. I think the running back position needs to be addressed here this week, and
I think you're preaching to the choir on that one. We are both in that camp too.
Beef. Yeah, still have some beef on both sides of the offensive and defensive line.
There's also probably a correlation on this side of it too, Mitch. If we're looking at this big picture with the guys that they have gotten the portal, and I think you and I would both agree that they've done a pretty good job of trying to fill their needs at this point, with the exception of those positions that you mentioned. They still have time to do so, but it also doesn't appear on the face. We don't know exactly how these things go, that they haven't had to spend a crap ton of money to rebuild this team. Obviously because of some of the guys that they haven't lost at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, you get the sense that there's still a little bit of, wiggle room to play with in terms of the quote unquote cap or the money that you're distributing to players for the remainder of this portal cycle. And number two, there's some continuity, I think, in this situation as you're ready to run it back for 26.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that second part, that there's some continuity, and that the being on the lower side of having big losses in the portal is good for Nebraska. I think the roster is still in a position where it has some places that could be a little leaner, where you could be more efficient in the way that the position groups are put together. But to say that it isn't the perfect roster, that's not breaking news to anyone. They're a long ways away from having that, and I don't think there was anyone who had the expectation they would get to that place by January 20th of this year. On the money part, where they're at with wiggle room under the supposed cap, I don't know. I think there have been some efforts here as this dead period has come on to increase some of what's available to the school in terms of the NIL. I mean, they're set on the rev share number, but they can move in the NIL area, like the third party. And I think they're still working to add some money there so that they can do everything they want to do. So I don't think it's just hey, they've underspent and they have millions that are sitting around waiting, for the right player to come in. I think they're probably pushing it up to or close to the limit at this point. And a lot of that, some of it has to do, of course, with the 15 players, including the JUCO transfer that they've added this month. And then also those players that they've retained, the ones that needed to be retained, who have been retained, Vincent Schaefer's in that category. They cost money, and they're going to have to pay them more than what they earned in 2025.
Mitch, the regular season ended on Black Friday. Terry Braden was announced out by December 8th. It is January 13th. Corey Brown is sort of expected to be the next defensive line coach, but that hasn't been announced officially. How and why does Nebraska not have a defensive line coach as they go through the portal right now? And we're in January at this point.
Yeah, I mean, splitting hairs, but it depends what you think or know or think about Brown's status. And it's possible that he's been in the fold here for a couple of days, or maybe there's some curveballs that are coming in at the end. We'll should have some clarity on that at some point. And if they're working now here this week with some definition about who that D-line coach is going to be, and it is Corey Brown, then that absolves them, I think, of some of what could be looked at as just a really bad situation at D-line. As long as you got somebody here at the end, I think it's a combination of things, Mike. They took a shot at Elijah Robinson And they've done that before and struck out. They struck out again on Robinson, who decided to go back to Texas A&M after leaving Syracuse. And I think in mid-December, that was the direction that Nebraska hoped to go. And you could say maybe that they put a lot of eggs in that basket. And then once that didn't work, they just decided to muck through and get through the bowl game, because there was a bowl game to prepare for, and they had to be able to defend up front. So Matt Rule got involved in the coaching, and they have pieces there. They have coaches. It isn't for a lack of coaches, potential coaches at the position, and they even brought some people in from the outside. So I mean, you could have just decided to say, all right, Phil Simpson, you're going to stick around. You're obviously important to the efforts to retain and recruit players from Florida. You can coach the D tackles, or there were things that Nebraska could have done. So I'll credit Matt Rule for saying, I'm not going to compromise the standards, and I'm going to go find the right fit. And then Rob Orich had to get in and get his feet on the ground. And Rule said all along that Orich would have say and influence in who the defensive coaches were around him, with the exception of the secondary, where there was no room to make a change. So I think all of that together, Orich finally connects here in January with the coach that he has experience with. And it all shakes out in the end that it's taken a long time, and it's not good that it's taken a long time. But if Nebraska comes out of this with a couple of new defensive tackles, and they like the situation with Roy Manning coaching the edges, and Corey Brown ends up being the guy to coach the defensive tackles, and maybe you get a signee in February at that position. I think they're still potentially working on somebody in the portal. Like, it could all come out looking okay, but it's been a messy route to get to this place.
Mitch, will you be making your way to Pinnacle Bank Arena tonight to watch the basketball playing Cornhuskers?
Yes, I will. 8 p.m. tip, but I can do that. I can handle it. I can stay up late. Looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what the environment is like. I really wanted to go to the Michigan State game on January 2nd, and just coming back from the Sugar Bowl, and I didn't make it. It was kind of icy that night, so I chickened out. But I will be there tonight for sure, and no doubt about it. Okay. And really looking forward to seeing the environment for the number 8 ranked team in the country.
It's going to be good yet again. All right, Mitch, we'll look forward to the coverage of that and plenty more on The Athletic. Appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Nebraska and Oregon tonight at PBA. Dana Altman. Will there be a Czech Fest reference in the post-game press conference?
Oh.
I'm going to say the odds are pretty good. Pretty decent. I think he'll be very complimentary of Fred Hoiberg. And I think Nebraska will win pretty comfortably tonight, to be honest with you.
You do?
Yeah. Why? Do you not?
What's
up with these people? How do I get all the crap? And then all of a sudden,
No, I think Nebraska wins. It's just right now they've just been in this stretch where it's sort of been like these kind of closest games.
Sure.
They haven't blown anybody out at this level since
New Hampshire,
Wisconsin. Well, I mean, there's a level.
Anybody with a pulse?
Yes.
Yeah, Wisconsin. Yeah.
So I think it's fair to wonder.
Okay.
And I get it, but
if Oregon doesn't have
saw Penn State take Michigan to the brink, I'm not going to be over here like Nebraska's going to win by 25 tonight.
It's hard. I will say, if Oregon doesn't have Jackson Shellstad, it ain't happening. They
You promise?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I do. If Oregon beats Nebraska without Jackson Shellstad, I would be shocked by that.
Shocked.
Yes, shocked. And I promise you that it won't happen. All right.
Nebraska's going to win. I'm not like ready to be at the place where they're going to win comfortably against Oregon.
I just trust them, I
trust them to win. I don't know that I'm like over here just double digit guarantee.
Okay. All right. Well, it's hard to do that. That's for sure. A 1-point win is the same as a 10-point win, except for if you are betting it. Well, I guess it's
not.
It would be the same if you are betting it tonight, because they are 10.5-point favorites at home. Oregon, Northwestern, Washington, Minnesota is the next 4 before that game of the century.
Give me your what do they do in the next 4?
Yeah, I think they win them all. I think they're 20-0.
Man.
I think they're going to be 20-0 and like
My
the number
brain is
3
just
team in the country.
Like I've gotten to the
Yeah.
point where I like have paralysis with Nebraska basketball because my brain cannot comprehend this
Yeah,
anymore.
that I mean,
Like they're just going to go into Northwestern, this stupid play. Like Boo Boo, he's got his 15th year of eligibility just announced before that game.
that would appear to me to be the biggest landmine.
Minnesota worries me too. They're playing pretty good basketball up there.
But yeah, at home, I don't know. I just think they're taking care of business.
I like them against Oregon and Washington at home.
Yeah,
I agree there.
But if you're asking me 20-0 or not 20-0, I'm taking 20-0.
No, man.
Plenty more to talk about.
Even
it's amazing. It's so incredible to think about. We are back. We'll round out the 8:00 hour. Jacob Badil will join us to talk about the Jays at 9:15 as they have a game.
They play tonight.
Georgetown. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Travis writes in on YouTube. Hey, Schaefer, did you know that 21 is 30? Now, I think
No.
Travis is mistaken a little bit. We do have some.
30 is 30.
No, 29. Well, 30 is 30, definitely. No dispute there. Would you agree with me that 29 is 30, though?
In what sense?
It was originally brought up in the context of a certain basketball game a few years ago, but not important to the conversation. 29 is 30. So if you get beat by 29, you could actually get beat by 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're rounding the numbers.
That's, I mean, kind of in a way. 20.
I
I think 29 is 30. I think it's a pretty good argument that 29 is 30. I think there's a pretty good argument that 38 is 40.
I
If
don't.
you get beat by 38, you really got beat by 40.
But you didn't.
If Nebraska got beat 62-3 against Ohio State that one year, they lost by 59. They lost by 60.
No, they lost by 59.
No, dude, they lost by 60.
59.
It's 60 sounds so, it sounds so much more harsh, you know?
Yeah, but
You
I'm
got
looking for
60
looking for
balled.
accuracy.
You got 60 burgered.
No, you didn't. You got 59 burgers.
I don't know. It pretty much tells the story.
Yes, I agree that it tells the story, but it's not accurate, so it's not correct. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be used.
I don't know. Accuracy, whatever. I'm trying to paint the picture, Schaefer.
I'm trying to be accurate so people can trust me as a reliable source of
But
information.
is there a way where you can paint
You're
the picture
over here
and
trying to
be
build
accurate?
narratives
Yeah.
that don't even exist in reality.
They do, though. You just admitted it. 29 is very similar to 30.
But it is not 30.
But it's not. You're right. Speaking of narratives and things that people talk about, Joey, are we prepared to play a video here on the YouTube stream?
I'm ready whenever you are.
Schaefer, I don't know. This we have to make a bit out of this. We previously have had a bit out of this. I don't know what you have seen and what you haven't seen. Okay, so we have before with something similar to would you click on this link? So I don't know if you've seen this.
Chances are I haven't.
There has been a lot of discussion about it, though.
Then I definitely have. If people are
That's the best
discussing
part.
things, I wouldn't know about.
We
it.
have something that is like universally getting, I don't know if it's universally, but it's getting talked about to a pretty high degree around like in a space that you operate in.
Which is what?
The NFL,
Okay.
media.
Sure.
It's getting
Then
talked.
there's a chance that I might know about
It's getting talked about quite a bit, but it astounds me sometimes. You're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But here it is. This is a not really a back and forth, and certainly not a question from the Jaguars post-game press conference after they lost to the Bills
I haven't seen this.
on Sunday. Here is Liam Cohen getting asked a question.
Congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank
You
you.
hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
And you
you.
did a great job out there today. So
Appreciate
you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you,
You
ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ladies and gentlemen, Duval.
Jacksonville is so weird. I hate them. I hate them so. I hate that city.
You and
I hate that they have a team.
you and John Bishop
It's
are
like a weird
handshake meme
location.
on like expansion teams. You guys don't like expansion teams.
Oh, I'm fine with Carolina.
okay.
I don't have any issue with.
What do you think
Carolina.
about the Miami Marlins, formerly known as the Florida Marlins?
other than winning the '97 World Series and having
You probably hated
significantly
that.
more World Series than I do in my lifetime, despite being a clown?
See,
show.
that's what John's jealous of. He's like, look, the Cubs have existed for a million years and they've won
But
one.
I don't have any problem. Like, I don't like the Rays because of the way they operate in their stupid stadium, but I don't have anything against expansion teams in general.
It's just Jackson.
Like, I have no thoughts on the Memphis Grizzlies. You know, the
Formerly known
Toronto
as the-
Raptors when I was a kid seemed really cool.
You were a Sonics guy.
Big Sonics.
You
guy.
were a
The
Sonics guy.
location's got to
That was the first favorite team I ever had.
So do you harbor any ill will toward the Oklahoma City Thunder?
A ton of ill will. I wanted, as someone who does not really watch or care about the NBA, I was a big Pacers guy last year.
Wow.
And then was like actually pretty annoyed when I don't even know that Halliburton got hurt.
Tyrese
And
Halliburton.
One, because he seems like he's a really good player. And I thought the
Clutch
discourse
player.
the discourse around him, specifically with Stephen A. Smith, was just obnoxiously stupid last year, which I think is a statement you could say about everything Stephen A. Smith says.
He was the New York Knicks.
We have a very difficult time of how to handle. It's happening right now with Caleb Williams, by the way. We have a difficult time with trying to figure out players who are inconsistent in normal times and then really, really, really good in clutch time. And
well, I mean,
that makes sense.
The thing with Halliburton, though, is it goes back to when he came out of Iowa State. I mean, there was some wild disagreement about what he would be as a player. And then he's clearly a star. And you have these people who decided before he ever played that he wasn't going to be good enough that are just like clinging. So then they're just keeping it on the other side of the goalpost no matter what. No, he's not a star. He's just good. Before he's never going to be good. It's like they're constantly staying on the other side of the ledger.
Right.
But that's what Stephen A. Smith is doing with Halliburton.
Definitely.
But
he's planting the flag.
I did not want the Thunder to win at all.
What did you think about that great question?
It's horrible.
So there has been, I'm sure you haven't seen any of this.
I have not. I didn't know this existed.
There has been quite the lively
skin
discussion.
Kind of crawl watching him respond to it.
So this was Lynn Jones of the Jacksonville Free Press, and she has gone on the news at several outlets, both locally, I think nationally as well. She is not ashamed for what happened at all. She's like, I've been doing this for a really long time and all this stuff. And
did she drop some Jimmy Smith, Fred Taylor, Mark Brunell?
No, she didn't mention any of those people, but she said she's been in Jacksonville for a while, and I believe her. But there's been this whole big conversation about what the role of the media is, and there's been this war against human interactions and stuff like that. My whole thing is that's awesome. Everybody should have a relation. Everybody's got a relationship with the people that they cover and all those different things. And you should feel in a certain point, comfortable enough to say hey, hope you're doing okay or feel better or something like that. That's a normal human thing. Just not at a press conference. It's just timing for me. I don't know that I'm not a media cop here, but just not at a press conference.
That could be a job for you.
I do not want to be
Happer, media cop.
I am not a good media. I would not be a good media cop.
I don't think you'd be a good media cop either. But I have several issues. I can run through them if you want, or I can just kind of tie it all together.
Tie it all together.
Okay. This was done to make it about her, right? You don't do this in front of everyone in a press conference after a playoff game when you could text the coach, you could talk to the coach to the side, you could find a million different ways to do it. She did it with purpose to make it about her. That was the whole thing.
Yeah. I think there's probably
a
little bit.
She accomplished what she wanted.
And now she's very popular.
It's dumb. I have said things to players and coaches after a game where it's hey, that's disappointing, but played really well. It doesn't come off as unbiased journalism, but I'm not doing it in the heart of a press conference.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm doing it as a side conversation, or more likely sending a text or a DM or whatever it is.
A phone call.
Because they are human. They are people. They have feelings. That gets lost in this sometimes. But you don't do that in a press conference unless you want to make it about yourself. And she did. So congratulations to her.
She
gets to be a story. And congratulations to me. I get to go back to, there was a moment there where I was I kind of like what Jacksonville has going on. Nope, done. Out.
Enrique,
I like their coach. That's it. And I like Travis Hunter. That's it. I'm out.
Enrique writes in on Twitter. He says, as a Jags fan, Schaefer and I are about to meet on the playground after the 5th period. I don't think Jags fans have ever had anyone hate them. So this is probably a foreign feeling.
Everything about that organization.
I don't know why they irk you so much.
I can't explain it either. When they traded up to get Travis Hunter, it was devastating to me because I didn't want to have to follow them. I wanted them to exist in their own weird little world where people yell Duval and strange things happen, and Trevor Lawrence has never been the prince that was promised, and all of these different things. And instead, now I have to because I want to watch Travis Hunter. And that was a horrible first year.
And now you have to watch the Jaguars.
And they have a good coach.
Yeah.
I think he's a very, very good coach.
And they're kind of a good team.
No, they are a good team. But they're in Jacksonville, so I can't support it.
All right, we'll be back 9 o'clock hour. Jacob Badilla is going to join us here in just a few minutes. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. Here's a tweet from Jeep Wade as we welcome you back on the on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. I'm Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you here in the mornings from 6 to 10. But here's a tweet from Jeep. GBR! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, dot, 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 exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. What do you think?
I have no idea that there's a lineman that has visited Nebraska that would result in that kind of like enthusiasm.
That's a lot of exclamation points.
Something good.
I mean, they already got a tree, like
Tree.
And what can you go back through his Twitter history and just see how he's reacted to other previous
Oh,
editions?
sure.
So that could give us some kind of like
Twitter's a little bit on the fritz right now. Let's see if I can get it though. Okay, so he retweeted Will Slagle. Then he retweeted the fact that Tree was in, and the fact that Brandon Black was in, and then he said hashtag new profile pic, and that was his new profile pic on December 12th. And then he said a lot of Georgia.
So he
Tech
hasn't had
things.
any reaction.
This
He
is the
didn't
first
react
time
to-
he's ever
Wow.
said GBR, 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 GBR on Twitter. Yes.
So that's 4 GBRs.
No, it was just one GBR, but it was just a lot of exclamation points.
Okay. Is there a code that we can crack here?
Well, this is like, I mean, maybe we're going back to the old boom days.
I miss the boom days.
I do too. I weirdly do.
Yeah.
Now it's just Pete Thamel tweeting about somebody's agent agreeing to a deal. This is dumb. Give me Bo Pelini or Bo Pelini's staff's boom tweet.
Do you remember way back in recruiting hour history when I brought on high school kid Hayes Fawcett on the show?
I do remember
before
that.
he was ever an LSU student, certainly before he ever worked for On3.
He was doing
and we
graphics.
were like the second people to ever interview him.
Yeah.
He sent me DMs every now and then. He's like, man, I really appreciate that you did that. I was like, you're
Wow.
a big star now.
Yeah, well, now he's.
Can you help me get a job, Hayes?
Breaking he's breaking everybody's
he's
news
like,
all across the
honestly,
country. Everything just like circulates through him.
There's
Like
a
if you
case-
have to commit to somewhere, you will tell Hayes Fawcett.
Right. And there's a case to be made. He is the single big.
And I thought like, oh, they're probably not in as bad of position as the attitude around the program.
Careful.
And the attitude around the
Careful.
defensive line itself might suggest after last season. I'll just say it. Like, I'm not telling you they're going to be good, but getting a new defensive coordinator and new defensive line coach and all that stuff, like that's going to help. Bringing guys back. They're back in the program for another year, and then a couple additions in the transfer portal. That's really all I could have asked, outside of going out and getting like the best defensive lineman in the country or something like that. I don't even know who that might have been.
Yeah, I mean,
They're going to get better. They're going to get better there.
I feel if this works for Nebraska, if their defense bounces back after a horrible year, it has more to do with fresh voices and a new system for guys like Riley Van Poppel and Winery and Lenhart and people already in the system more than it does for.
I agree too, but there is. But wouldn't you agree? It sounds like you
what
do.
I'm getting
that
at
there
is
is a
I do
path.
agree with
Yes,
you.
there's
It's
a
just
path.
hard to say out loud because it was so bad last year.
Hashtag the path.
And I still believe in the talent of Riley Van Poppel. He's a very talented guy. He did not have a great year last year. I am hoping that a different defensive line coach and system unleashes that talent, and people will look at him differently at the end of 2026 and be like, okay, that's someone who's met their potential. I think he has a chance to be a special player, and I understand that people have no reason to believe it based on what they saw this year. He didn't play that well. But a freshman that can step in and have as many fourth down stops as he had in his career.
There's something
just as
there.
he is talented. He was not in the right situation last year. I hope that is not the case.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to get at is I agree with you. I worry because my confidence in them solving this
it
is
feels
not high.
it feels like from the outside looking in, if you have a negative view on it, which many do, which is fair, honestly, at this point, it feels like you are quote unquote running it back, which you are, because it's a lot of
You're
the
not,
same group
because
of
you have a different
guys. But
defensive coordinator.
it's a different defensive coordinator, and it's a different defensive line coach. It's a different scheme, and everybody who is back is a year older, and everybody who's coming in is fresh and just like that. Like, so it's not quote unquote running it back, because in order to think that way, you would have to think, all right, well, all the guys they have in the defensive line are just flat out bad players. Like you said, Schaefer, maybe they were just in the wrong situation.
The hesitation I have is that, and it's hard because they're moving from the 3-3-5 to a 4-2-5. We don't know exactly what that looks like, or what, is it going to be
right?
Nose guard with a defensive tackle, whatever. I have the biggest issue I have is I still don't feel like they have that piece that sits in the middle of the defensive line that makes everything else work.
Yeah.
And when you go, and this is not a season in which we want to discuss the win and loss record, but what I mean by that is when you have a guy like Damian Daniels, who on the surface, if you go pull up his stats from 2021, you're not just going to be like, oh, wow, he was 2009 Sioux. No, what he did was eat 3 offensive linemen on every play and let JoJo Domann wreak havoc.
Yep.
They didn't have that last year, and it crushed them.
Oh, I mean,
and they didn't have great play when they
did
when the defensive line played well, and there was times where they would play well, then the linebackers and the defensive backs didn't run fit properly. So it all has to work in conjunction. But the one thing, and even Whittington, like he's 290, right? Like 6'2", 290. But I want a 345-pound man sitting in the middle of that defensive line that says, you can't go here. They just haven't had it.
Yep.
And Frost dealt with this where they kept putting Mick Stoltenberg in there. And then it finally felt like, oh, Damian Daniels, we have the right piece for it. And then they didn't find anyone else to do that. Rule was gifted having Nash Hutmaker, who when healthy was very good in that role. Different than what I'm discussing, but good. And then they didn't follow up last year by going and getting someone like that. They canceled every visit of nose tackles they had from like January 10 on. And I remember like writing these stories and just being like, I get it. Like, this kid's probably not a massive star, but you don't have this on your roster.
Right. Go get
what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to put an undersized Elijah Judy as your nose tackle?
Right.
Let's see how this goes.
Right.
It didn't go well.
I understand. I will reserve judgment too for the fact that we don't exactly know what the scheme is going to look like and what those guys are going to be asked to do at this point, and maybe they can get the most out of them. So there's that piece of it as well. But no doubt that is part of the search, I think, this week still. And of course, as we always like to talk about, please get a running back. But that's just me. We'll take a break. Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports will join us next. We will talk Creighton basketball as they take on Georgetown tonight. I do have a reminder for you all. We have online tickets, online contests to Rascal Flats, which is coming up next week.
Life is a Highway?
The Life is a Highway tour. Schaefer, Saturday, January 24th at the Chai with special guests Lauren Elena and Chris Lane.
I have not heard of either of the special guests.
I thought you might. Anyway, Rascal Flats, you can win tickets online on our website right now, 1620thezone.com. All right, stretching it out this morning and just maybe getting out of bed. Jacob Padilla from Herd Sports joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Jacob, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Connor. I've been better.
What do you mean? Like just from a tired perspective?
No, just the weekend, and we don't need to talk about it.
Oh,
Let's not talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah, Saturday probably wasn't one of the banner days for Jacob, just like it wasn't for Joey.
Yeah.
One of the toughest days, I can confirm.
It's basketball season anyway. We don't need to talk about football.
Okay, so we were going to try to really, get you going here. So the question to you first is, which path are we taking? Which gets you more excited? Creighton basketball questions or Schaefer's one high school basketball question that he has?
Well, let's go with Schaefer.
All right,
that
Schaefer,
way.
the floor is yours.
All right, Jacob, I thought about this question long and hard as I considered what I was going to ask you today. As someone who has not paid any attention to the high school basketball scene, here is my question. What is going on?
Damn it.
Well, what's going on is it's kind of been exactly like we thought it might be. Going into the year, it felt like this is the most wide open that Class A has been, just because the kind of talent level at the top is closer to the middle than it's been. We've obviously had this great run of talent with 4-star level players and high major players, and especially multiple on the same team with the Miller North and the Bellevue West runs. And that's not the case anymore. We have one senior in the state committed to a Division I school. It's Will Preston at Westside, and he's like their fourth leading scorer. So he's going to Hampton. So then we've got one junior currently with offers in London Dada at Westside, and he's a good player, but also like it's kind of projecting as well there. He's got a lot of room to keep getting better, more so than he's a dominant player right now. So you just have a lot of teams where they can be in the mix, because there isn't, like, even last year you had Bryson Ball was clearly the best player in the state and kind of had a senior laden team around him, and in the end led Tapiosa up to the state title. Like right now, like someone's asked me, like, who's the best player in the state right now? And honestly, I don't know. You could name multiple players. So I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now, is we just have a lot of solid teams with good players across the state. And the last week kind of accentuated that more than ever, just with the results from Friday to Saturday and how they flipped. And it's been an exciting start to the season. And I think that will definitely kind of set up a state tournament game that'll be hard to predict, or state tournament run.
Do you, and I'm already going past my one high school basketball.
Of course, he
question
came
into
up with a
second one.
follow-up.
I do have a follow-up. Do you like when you have years like this where it is completely wide open, or do you kind of prefer when there's that? This is sort of like the NFL playoff question. Do you prefer when you have that sort of team to chase, whether it be Omaha Central in the heyday, or one of the Millard North teams, or Bellevue West, or whatever else? I mean, do you when you're covering it or when you're watching it, do you enjoy this kind of unpredictability, or does it mean more when there's kind of the team that everybody else has to chase?
Yeah, I think it's certainly fun to have like nationally known recruits and like 4-stars and guys going to great programs. From that aspect, just in terms of individual players and watching the sport itself, it's fun seeing those guys running around. But at the same time, like, it was kind of like, all right, here we go, Millard North, Bellevue West again. Will anybody be able to kind of interrupt this? And nobody ever did for a long stretch there. So just from a day-to-day coverage perspective, and like going into any game, you never really know what's going to happen. You can probably find a great game no matter where you go every night, because teams have to show up ready to play every game. There's no coasting on talent. There's no, we're gonna win this easily, as long as you got like basically teams in the top 15 playing each other. then it's got a chance to go either direction. So yeah, just from kind of the day-to-day coverage of the actual competition, I definitely enjoy this. It's just kind of it's a different way to view it. Like I said, enjoyed covering really talented players, but this is kind of a difference for me because there haven't been a lot of seasons like this since I've started doing this.
All right, we know it was a bad Saturday for you, but let's get to the other bad part of Saturday. For this time, it was for Creighton, who they got housed at home on Saturday. Like, I haven't seen much like that at home in quite some time. The takeaway is what, Jacob? How much of it was St. John's? I mean, simply just getting hot from three, which they certainly did, and how much of it was Creighton's shortcomings? The rest, I know, was a topic. I guess, what's your takeaway now that we've had some distance from it?
Yeah, I think basically what we've seen here is that Creighton is in the top half of the Big East, and they're not in that top tier. And that's kind of where they are right now. St. John's obviously hasn't quite had the season that people expected during the preseason, but it's still a really talented team, and still, I think, clearly the second best team in the conference. So Creighton you can't show up with a less than a effort to have a chance to win that game, even on your home court. And for whatever reason, they admit the energy wasn't there. They didn't have the juice, whether it is the schedule, just the legs not being there, whatever it is. They just didn't have what they needed to stay in that game. And the matchup is really tough.
Yep.
With this team in particular. And like you said, if they're going to be hitting threes like that with the game plan that Creighton threw out there, then there was no shot. So I think it's a combination of definitely the limitations on the roster, but then also, like, we know this team, we've seen it. They have to have their best to compete against really good teams. There's kind of no margin for error this season, just based on the way that things have played out. And unfortunately, we saw what happens when they don't show up with their best. And it's a long season. It's hard. It's hard for these guys to have their best every single night. And that's the problem with leaving yourself in no margin for error, because everybody's going to have bad days. And unfortunately, a lot of guys had bad days on Saturday. It was funny, though, that Rick Pitino left his bigs, Hopkins and Ejiofor, in down the stretch, and Creighton closed on a 16-6 run to kind of salvage their metrics somewhat. I don't know if that's what he was doing, if he was coaching to try to maintain the margin or stretch it out, or if those guys did something during the game that he wasn't happy with and he was making them play through it to try to turn around, or whatever the deal was. It was certainly interesting, especially with Hopkins' injury history, to have him play as late as he did in that game. But yeah, it is fortunate. That was kind of the one saving grace from that game. Is it could have been worse. Creighton turned it from the 27 down to 17, and kind of closed that gap enough that it didn't totally wreck their metrics.
I am very curious what you make of this Georgetown team. I mean, they started off 5-0. I remember with the wins against Maryland and Clemson to begin the year. They got a win in there against Marquette, in December when Big East play started. And they're coming off of now 3 straight losses in the Big East. Georgetown has been kind of a disaster for a little more than a decade. Ed Cooley's in his 3rd year. What do you make of this program? And then specifically, what do you make of this team right now that Creighton's about to take on tonight?
Yeah, it's not in a great spot. Obviously, when you've got head coach throwing water bottles at children, it's probably not a great sign.
Respect Ed Cooley.
I don't know. The team has been competitive in all these losses.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's not like they're getting completely run out of the gym.
No, and the thing is, they're still good defensively. Like they make it hard to score on them. It's kind of their interior defense. They've got some size, got some rim protection. They just can't score. They can't shoot the ball more specifically. They can get to the free throw line and score that way, but they're just really poor in 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage overall. I mean, you look at the field goal percentage of a bunch of their guys; they just don't have guys shooting the ball, scoring the ball efficiently outside of their bigs. So that's kind of the big issue right now. I mean, you got KJ Lewis coming over, good player in Arizona, shooting under 40% from the field. Malik Mack back for them, good player. He picked up last, but he's shooting 36% from the field. And those are your two leading scorers, your two leading shot takers. So it's hard to be really good when you're that inefficient from your lead ball handlers. So I think that's a serious issue that they have to figure out. I don't know. I mean, outside of Georgetown just being in a bad spot, I don't know why he struggles so much to kind of find a way to get this team going, and the steps that they haven't taken this year. But yeah, it's not a great spot.
Padilla, I wonder if there's, we've seen Creighton now against some physical teams through a few games in the conference, but especially the last 4 since you kind of jumped back into conference play. Butler was certainly that. They were trying to push and shove around, and Seton Hall was certainly that. Villanova became a little bit more of a jump shot type of game. And then St. John's, I mean, Creighton was settling for turnaround mid-range, closer than mid-range, fadeaways quite a lot just because of the rim protection presence that they have. Like, how do we feel about them in more of these tougher Big East type of games after seeing them through 6 games in conference play?
Yeah, obviously the roster certainly has its flaws, and we kind of anticipated that somewhat going into the season. We hope that some of the skill and some of the things that we expected them to do would kind of offset that, and they'd have a chance to be a really good offense regardless. But obviously the Owen Freeman hole in the kind of what we expected this team to be able to do is kind of massive, because without kind of that post presence, that the way he scored at the rim,
yep,
through that, which Freeman was elite at Iowa when he was healthy, and just hasn't been able to get there since he's been back on the court for Creighton. You're not. I mean, Jason Green has been your best source of interior offense, and he's a 6'8" forward playing the center. And credit to him for doing as much as he has. Like, his evolution,
he doesn't. Yeah, he still doesn't get
incredible.
enough credit for how well he's able to finish down there, being undersized.
Yeah, and that was something that was kind of one of the questions, like how he had some good moves and everything, but you kind of the touch and the ability to finish through contact and around the rim. There just were some stretches where you're like, got to make that. And like the touch that he's developed, the control on that little hook, even the fadeaway jumpers in the post that he's hitting now, like that's all hard work from him. And but again, he's a 6'8" guy playing at the 5, and that's not something that you can rely on, like his interior post scoring in every matchup and against every team you're going to go against. So that this team does rely so much on jump shots, just because you don't have guys that are athletic, that are quick enough, that are strong enough to beat guys off dribble, hold their line, get to the rim, and finish. Because I mean, like, Josh Dix is a really good player, but there was one point where he was attacking the basket, had his defender on his hip, and just wasn't able to hold his line and get to the rim, and ended up doing a step back hard, like sidestep fadeaway jumper that wasn't really close to going in. And like, just plays like that, you see Nick Graves, who kind of just the burst isn't necessarily there, getting to the rim, and even drawing fouls at the same rate that he did at Charlotte, which I didn't expect it to translate to the same degree. So you are relying so much on Austin Swartz and Josh Dix hitting jump shots, and Isaac Trout. And we saw in that Villanova game how they're still capable of looking really good when their shots are going in. Like, you can check out the Blue Jay breakdown page on hurtatsports.com if you want to reminisce on more enjoyable times like that Villanova when I kind of broke down their second half pick and roll offense and just kind of how they got to their spots and picked them apart from the mid range. And like they're certainly capable. This team is capable of winning that way at a high degree. It's just there's a lot more variance when that's what you have to rely on versus being a more complete balanced offense. That being said, like they're leading the Big East in 2-point percentage in conference play so far. So it looked ugly against St. John's, but for the most part, it's working. That goes back to kind of what I said, how, yeah, they're in the top, definitely top half of the Big East. They've kind of separated themselves from the bottom half, and they're just maybe not quite there against the very best teams. And obviously you've got UConn coming up, and they're number one with the bullet in the league. And that's why this Georgetown game is important, especially at home. They cannot let the St. John's carry over into this next game here. They've got to keep beating the bottom of the conference, rack up these wins, and then hope they can improve enough to maybe steal one or two from some of these top teams.
And you certainly can't let too many more slip at home, if at all. All right, Jacob, we will let you go. Late tip tonight, so we will see you out there. Talk to you later.
Yay.
That's a little bit more
Love
his
these
style.
8 o'clock guys.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, bye, guys.
Jacob Padilla from Herd Sports. You can check out all of his great stuff there, or of course on Twitter as well, which is acting very odd right now. I don't know what is going on. I think they officially banged the chronological timeline, because it's all it straight up doesn't load tweets for me right now on the chronological timeline. It's just the For You stuff. It appears it's the same way for you as well. So that's great. That'll be fantastic for everybody. They've been trying to hide secret buttons where they can make it look like it works. Like, do the For You side, Schaefer. Do the other side.
I don't want to.
Well,
I'm just going to keep clicking on the recent because that's what I want.
You are trapped. You can't go anywhere.
I'm just not going to use Twitter.
All right. Well, Twitter appears to be canceled. Black Cat Right said, he says, thanks for reaffirming it's messed up. It's not just me.
I will never ever understand why someone would want the For You as opposed to the recent. But that's just me.
It's not at all what Twitter has ever been. But I don't know. It's all been messed up for quite a long while.
Yeah, I mean, it had its heyday, and it's no longer in its heyday.
We're definitely not in the heyday of
now.
Twitter
We're just
anymore.
clinging on to it, and that's what it is.
So Georgetown at home tonight. It is an 8:00 tip on 1620 The Zone and 101.9 The Keg. I would assume that makes us have shoot around at 6.
Yes, sir. 90-minute shoot around with Austin and myself.
Joey will be there.
Look at that.
John
Joey
takes over courtside at 7:30.
Joey's going to be a busy boy.
I know. You really
I'm going to be here till midnight.
They got the Murphy bed somewhere in here that just comes out of the wall that you could stay over until tomorrow.
I might find something down in the basement.
Interesting. The Joey Colbert Memorial Hotel Room.
Memorial? He's still alive.
And Memorial, I don't know. There's another word for it. But the Joey Colbert Hotel Room. We just put him in a little corner.
There's some random door in the Zone producer's office, and I'm very curious what's
that goes out to the main lobby. So I don't think you want to. That's just a door to the main, like it's a secret door. So I don't know. If you laid it down in the office, the producer's office, and I don't think anybody would notice.
I didn't even know the producers had an office.
Yeah, they're all hanging out together, collaborating on ideas.
That's pretty cool.
Doing things on Canva together.
When did they get an office?
Forever?
No, it's definitely not been forever.
It's been that way since I got here.
Same here.
I mean, Shane was out in the bullpen for the duration of which he was.
As long as I've been here, I've only been here 4 years, but they've always had the producer's office. So Georgetown tonight, Providence on the road on Friday. It's another quick turnaround for Creighton, and then finally a little chance to take a breath before taking the long weekend and coming back home to play Xavier on Wednesday. But cannot lose. Like the cannot lose teams at this point are basically all of the home games, including tonight, that aren't UConn. And even though you'd love to have that one, and most of the road games, specifically Marquette and DePaul. Don't lose to Marquette and DePaul ever.
How many wins do you think they have to get to be a realistic bubble team?
20.
And they're at
10.
They got to double their number.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It is going to be challenging. It's an uphill battle at this point. No doubt about it. All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back. We'll round things out here on a Tuesday on Happer and Schaefer.
You wanted to say it.
I almost made it all the way through the show again on 1620 The Zone. All right. Welcome back. Rounding out the Happer and Schaefer show. Not just Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620 The Zone.
HappenShape.com.
Yes. By the way, yeah, you can follow us on Twitter.
If you can figure out how to use it.
A website that definitely works normally
Sometimes.
and properly at
Depends on
Happen
the day.
Schaefer. Yeah, it'll all come back eventually. There's all these scare tactics. I'm sure people are getting suspended out there and they're saying, oh my God. I don't know what they're trying to do to weed out people, but I think it's working. I wanted to mention before we go, did you know that yesterday was the first day of college baseball practice?
No, I was unaware of that.
It was.
That seems like a Nick Grimm fact.
No, Nick facts are famously not true. That's the funny thing about Nick facts. This is a real fact.
Well, I wasn't talking about whatever a Nick fact is.
It is definitely a Nick.
He's obsessed with college baseball.
He does
so
love
it seems
college
like
baseball.
something he would tell me.
I wonder if he knew that college baseball opened up yesterday. I'm sure he did.
He probably watched some stream of multiple practices.
I saw Nebraska practicing out on their new practice field that they share with Wesleyan, over across the street there. And then Creighton used the soccer field and did some hitting in the indoor yesterday as their new practice facility is, going up rapidly, things
We're
like that as well.
A month from pitchers and catchers being there.
We're a month from college baseball literally opening. I mean, it's a month, I think, from maybe yesterday, I want to say.
And we have Michael Brunts on Mondays. He can break down college baseball every Monday starting in February.
Soon enough, I will be coming on to the show very shortly after doing a Tuesday night midweek game against like North Dakota or North Dakota State or something like that. And I'll be so tired and you'll be saying, wow, well, you watched a bunch of Creighton baseball play North Dakota State last night. And I'll say, yeah, but it's a good thing.
Man, imagine a midweek going into extra innings for you.
What a suggestion. I don't know why they would suggest that, but what an interesting thing that would be.
Just a curiosity.
It's happened before. I think there was some last year, but most of the time, the night games are on Fridays, and you don't have to deal with me the next morning after that. So there you go. Baseball is open, kind of. John writes in, famous hater of baseball. The NCAA obviously listened to my opinion about college baseball practice last Wednesday. I take full credit. Yep, it's coming, whether you like it or not.
I'm here for it. I don't know that I feel like Nebraska is going to be particularly good, but I'm here for it.
But they won the Big Ten They won the Big Ten tournament last year.
Yeah, they won it the year before and followed it up with a very, very meandering season.
In which they won the Big Ten tournament.
And will they follow it up with a very, very meandering season?
Which they may still have a chance to win the Big Ten tournament.
And then will they follow it up with a very meandering season?
I can speak for Creighton, who won the Big East regular season and postseason championship last year and took Arkansas to Game 6 in a regional.
I'm excited for the days of the Nebraska-Creighton games. We can really get into it. It'll be great.
We'll have like an hour at least of baseball time.
Yeah, that'll be fun
on those days. All right, that'll do it for us today. We appreciate you guys listening and hanging out with us for day number 2 of Happer and Schaefer. We will be back with you tomorrow morning at 6. For now, it's time for the crossover coming up next.